And welcome back to another episode of Ministry Truth. I'm your only host on this show. It is Tuesday. I totally forgot which day of the week it was. And hello, Taco Cat. Good to see you on this fine Tuesday morning. What are we going to talk about today? Just a bunch of random stuff. I'm not going to use profanity for the next 5 minutes. Just kidding. Going to listen to some songs. Obviously, one from the 90s and one from like a week ago. 9 days ago to be more precise. Then we're going to listen to Hillary Clinton and a Czech politician, Chuck Schumer, embarrassing himself even more. Did you know when it comes to the LGBT, they want to get rid of the T and they want to add a P, which would be pedosexual? It's true. Oh, it's damn true. I don't think I have that video, but I have a different one. Still makes it fucked up. So without further ado, see, I couldn't even make it 2.5 minutes. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to the first video of the day. That light's a little bright. And, oh, this is a music video. Yeah. Ready? Put your lights on. Wait, that's the wrong song. Hey, put your lights on, going with Carlos Santana. Oh, you know what? I forgot. So, you need something to drink, you need something to eat, you need to go blow your nose. This would be a good time. My bad. Store begging for your chain. The hair on his face is dirty, dreadlocked in for the main. He asked a man for what he could spare with shame in his eyes. Get a job, you fucking slobs, all he replied. God forbid you ever had to walk a mile in his shoes. Then you really might know what it's like to sing the blues. Yeah, then you really might know what it's like. Yeah, then you really might know what it's like. Yeah, then you really might know what it's like. Yeah, then you really might know what it's like. Mary got pregnant from a kid named Tom, said he was in love. He said, don't worry about a thing, baby doll, I'm the man you've been dreaming of. But 3 months later, he said he won't date or return her call. And she swear, goddamn, if you find that man cutting off his balls. And then she heads for the clinic and she gets some static walking through the door. They call her a killer and they call her a sinner and they call her a whore. God forbid you ever had. Yeah, you like that? I like this song. I liked it when I first heard it. Especially when I figured out this is the dude from, oh my god. Jump around, people. I can't remember the fucking name of them right now. House of Pain. All right. Good flashback to the 90s. Now let's take a quick flashback until the 2026. I found this pretty hilarious, and I think you would too. So without further ado, let's get to the first comedy bit, because I'd like to start off with some comedy after the music. This happens to be both. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Sí, baja, welcome del Taco Bell. My name is Maduro. I like tennis games and tacos, public speaking and hanging, and wearing Sergeant Pepper clothes. In Venezuela, life is hard. We are eating cats and dogs. This is hunger, crime, and death. That's why we started selling meth. Gringos,
No.
Yala, yala, get dressed, it's court day. When I see Danity, I say, why you arrest me? You have to believe me, please. How do I reach these kids? So Donald says, okay, you're right. You're free to go have a good night. Sayonara.
Uh-oh.
Then I go walk outside, but then I get kidnapped by ICE. Gringos! Threw me in a van with guys named Pedro that all mow grass in like cilantro. Now I locked up in a cage. It wouldn't be like this if I was beige. Now with gangbangers and tethers, with a prison guard named Trevor, I should be on the beach drinking Stella. I'm a president of Venezuela. Ella, Ella, we can be Portabella, Bella, Bella, and make Porte Marcela. Ella, I'm Nicolas, yes. Can I have cup of Java?
Sure.
Saba, Saba, parle français, wait, help me. I tried turning to Iran. They say we have our own problems. Said Putin, please. Said dos vidan, my Tata. I turned to help from China. No hablo el Mexican. Gringos, find me two blade of helicopter. Now I need 7 nameless doctors. I get thrown off by Pinochet. Land on Raul Fidel and Che. Now I'm being raped more than ever by some annoying prison nagger. I will eat halal and pray to Mecca. I'm a president of Venezuela. Ella, Ella, call up the Consuela. Come on, let me say, pray me. I'm in jail like Mandela. Hello, I'm Nicolas. Yes, my life is good, inshallah. Allah, Allah, praise him. Yeah, it's great. See you
Wait.
next time.
Is Maduro a Muslim? I don't think that's true. If it is true, way to go, Maduro. Way to go. So,
There's an entire generation of people
we're gonna listen to this little thing. It's about Generation X and millennials. I guess the in-betweeners. We're still Gen X, but we're smarter. And we're still smarter than millennials. It's a little time frame that most of us probably fit into. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen.
generation of people who remember both rotary phones and the
Yep.
first iPhone launch, and psychologists can't quite figure out where to put them. If you were born between 1976 and 1985, you're on the tail end of Gen X, but you're hardly a millennial, even though everyone keeps trying to shove you into one of those boxes. You're what researchers started calling a Zennial around 2014. And
Oh.
some sociologists have even labeled this group a microgeneration because the window is so specific. What happened during that specific slice of history created something that's genuinely worth examining. So today, we're going to explore what makes them interesting from a psychological perspective. From the start, you spent your childhood in an analog world where boredom was just something
Yeah.
you sat with, where you had to actually remember phone numbers.
Yep.
And not to mention the dread if you missed your favorite TV show,
And you
it
missed
was
it
just
if you
gone.
missed it.
Yet one day, right as you were moving into adulthood, the entire world went digital. Not gradually, suddenly.
Overnight.
The timing of this shift had consequences that are still playing out. Most generations grow up entirely in one technology paradigm or other. Zennials, however, went through both of these life-defining experiences during the years when you were still discovering yourself. Your late teens looked very different to your 20s, and the disparity in age was far wider than most generations experience. Consider the implications of this on your daily life. Remember how much of your teens were spent passing
Notes, yep.
physical notes in class, or having conversations that disappeared into thin air, or making plans where you weren't able to text running late or where are you? You just showed up and hoped your friends would be there. That required a completely different kind of trust and
did.
commitment than what exists now. But then you were in your 20s and saw everyone get cell phones. You registered with Friendster, next MySpace,
MySpace.
then Facebook. Prior to social media, most people only had 3 different ways to contact someone,
Yeah.
either their home or work phone or just by showing up at their house. Then suddenly you have 17 different messaging apps, and you simply figured it out. During your formative years, you experienced both worlds. According to research on brain development, the prefrontal cortex, the region that mediates our ability to adapt to new situations and learn complex skills, is still maturing until roughly the age of 25. A study
Oh, you mean when you're fully developed at 25 years old? Interesting. Yeti.
published in Nature Neuroscience found that this region matures well into the 20s. This means that Xennials were still in this high plasticity window when the technological landscape went through a complete overhaul. You were young enough that picking up new technology felt natural, but old enough to remember what came just
Cassette
before it.
tapes.
Due to being adults when technology first appeared, Gen Xers can sometimes be a
You
bit
guys remember when we had the Discman? And then if we wanted to play CDs in our car, you would have to have that cassette tape adapter. Plug it in and listen to your Discman. But then if you hit a bump, it skipped.
skeptical of technology. Millennials, particularly the younger ones, have no real memory of life without the internet. If you're a Xennial, though, you've experienced both things, which has created a kind of bilingualism that is pretty rare. You can have a face-to-face conversation without checking your phone every 30 seconds,
Yeah.
but you also don't get anxious about learning new software. You remember what it felt like to be genuinely unreachable for hours at a time, which is an experience a lot of younger people simply don't have. But you're also not intimidated by technology the way
Like
some
my
older
parents.
generations are. And this shows up in ways you might not even notice, like you probably have a different relationship with privacy than other generations. You grew up in a world where your embarrassing moments just faded into memory instead of living forever on social media. That 7th grade haircut, that breakup, that drunk night at a party, there's no photo evidence. It just exists in the stories people tell. This creates a fundamentally different relationship
Memories.
with your past. Your memories could evolve, could become stories, could change shape over time the way human memory naturally works. You weren't trapped by documentation. Research on autobiographical memory suggests that the way we store and recall personal experiences is actually quite fluid. Our brains are designed to edit memories, keep what matters, and let the rest fade. When everything is permanently documented and searchable, that natural process gets complicated in ways we're still trying to understand. But here's where things get messy.
Oh, it's a lot of
You
hair.
also entered the job market right around the 2008 financial crisis,
1999,
which means
actually.
a lot of you experienced significant economic instability during the exact years
Not
when you
me.
were supposed to be establishing your careers. That timing matters more than
Actually, I
people
was in Iraq
realize.
in '08.
Research on economic hardship shows that financial trauma during this life stage can have lasting psychological effects. People who experience job loss or financial instability during this life stage often carry those experiences forward, even after their situations improve. It shapes how you think about money, security, and risk in ways that don't easily go away. So you've got this generation that learned to adapt to massive technological change, but also got economically burned right when you were trying to build stability. You can navigate change because you had to, but you might also have this underlying current of what if it all falls apart again running through your decision making. And nobody really talks about this combination. The cultural conversation about generations tends to pit Gen X against millennials, as if everyone born after 1965 and before 2000 is basically the same. But the specific
I don't know
years
about
you were
that.
born in, especially during periods of rapid change, create distinct experiences that don't fit into those broad categories. Xennials deal with a paradox that's honestly pretty unusual. You have the self-reliance and skepticism of Gen X because you grew up before helicopter parenting became standard. Your parents probably didn't know where you were for hours at a time, and
As
that was
long as I
just
came home before
normal.
the street
You
lights went
learned to
off.
solve problems on your own, to entertain yourself, to deal with boredom and frustration without immediate adult intervention. However, you also reached adulthood during the
ASL.
early days of the internet, when technology was still
AOL.
thought to connect everyone
You
and
got
solve
mail.
everything, before we all realized that it might be actually making some things more complicated. It is odd to find yourself there, independent and cooperative, doubtful yet optimistic, digital but analog. What seems to define Xennials is this ability to hold contradictions without it feeling weird. You remember the before and the after, which means you're able to see what was gained and what was lost. Perhaps you're not as nostalgic for the past in the same way Gen X might be, since you genuinely appreciate modern conveniences too. However, unlike many of the younger generations, you still recognize what we gave up. You lost the ability to be truly alone with your thoughts without effort. You
Turn
lost
your
the
phone off.
patience that comes from waiting. You
Oh, no,
lost a
no, no.
certain kind of
No, no, no,
presence.
no, no. I have this specific skill that I learned in the military. It's called hurry up and wait. Hurry up and wait. Weapon draw. 06. Be at the arms room. 03. Be ready to move out. 07. Get there at 3. Arms room doesn't open till 8. Sitting there from 3 to 8. Yeah, we know what to do. We know what to do. Hurry up and wait. It's definitely something that's still ingrained in me.
Effort. You lost the patience that comes from waiting. You lost a certain kind of presence that existed when there wasn't always something else competing for your attention. But you gained connection, information, and possibilities
Yeah.
your younger self couldn't have
Just
imagined.
if you think about it, when we were kids, we didn't have a cell phone while we were taking a shit, right? So we either had to do one of two things. I used to have Archie comics in the bathroom because that's what my parents would. Hey, I only had one bathroom as a kid. That's what my parents would buy. Or if I got really bored and there was nothing in the bathroom, I would definitely take like a shower, not the shower, shampoo bottle, and read it. Read it very slowly, and then I would do the phonetic alphabet until I was done. I know it's weird, but you know you did it. You know you did the same thing.
If you're a Xennial, you probably feel like you don't quite fit in anywhere. Too young for some things and too old for
What I'm
others.
talking about.
Caught between two worlds. It's not a fault, that's actually the defining feature of your generation's experience. In a world that keeps changing faster than anyone can predict, having lived through one massive transition might be one of the most valuable things you could have learned. You've adapted to a transitional lifestyle. The environment in which you were raised doesn't necessarily have to be the one in which you live forever. The Xennial experience is worth knowing about because of that, more than anything. Not because you're special in some superior way,
Oh, I
but
am.
because you lived through a specific moment in history that taught you something the rest of us are still trying to figure out: how to adapt without losing yourself in the process. If this resonated with you, I'd really appreciate you subscribing.
It's just interesting because we know it's true. Didn't realize it till I saw this video yesterday or 2 days ago, and I was like, "Holy fuck!" We did grow up in two different generations. If you think about it, 80s and 90s, and then you have the 2000s, and that's when it switched, right around 2000. Because I think 2000, 2001 is the first time I had a cell phone. That's crazy.
Secretary Clinton,
civilization.
Secretary Clinton, so thank you for that. And you got
You really mean that?
yes, I do. I do. and
Hillary
you got
Clinton
several
up on
rounds
the
of
stage
applause there.
just embarrassing herself. Why is she there? She's not running for office. Her husband's a pedophile. She murders people.
I'm really interested in the line that our discussion is having already, which is a battle within the West between conservatism and liberalism. But I don't think we would be having this discussion at all if it weren't for some of the positions the US administration has taken. And let me take one of them, which is Ukraine, which is obviously at the center of the Munich discussions of the past couple of years.
Fuck Ukraine. Have NATO and the EU pay for it, just not with our money.
The line that the Trump administration has taken in trying to resolve the Ukraine conflict following Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and
Although there might be a silver lining coming up with a deal, a trade deal, and them switching back to, not switching to, but using the American dollar. I mean, that would come pretty close.
It's apparent thrust to accept Russia's territorial encroachment on Ukraine. And to you, I absolutely, I understand, and we've had various versions of it already, your characterization of a clash between conservative and liberal values being, at the heart of what's going on in the West. But in this particular one, a security issue, one that involves international law, whether countries still respect those international laws laid down after the Second World War, do you think that that brings a new rift within the West? Ukraine, the US's position. Yes, I am.
No,
I think that the Trump administration's position toward Ukraine is disgraceful.
what's yours?
I think the effort to force Ukraine into a surrender deal with Putin is shameful. I think the effort...
Yeah. Hillary Clinton wants the war to continue to go, continue to use taxpayer dollars, and I bet she would love to have boots on ground.
Putin and Trump are making to profit off the misery and death of the Ukrainian people is a historic error.
Democrats funneled and laundered money through Ukraine. It's funny when the money stops, money's still flowing.
And corrupt to the nth degree. And so I believe Ukraine is fighting for our democracy and our values of freedom and civilization.
I'm sorry, Hillary Clinton. Ukraine is not fighting for our democracy. Ukraine doesn't even believe in a democracy. When's the last time they had an election, Hillary? When is the last time? It's been a couple elections since they decided not to have the elections. Crazy, isn't it?
On the front lines, losing thousands of people and
Not my
having
problem.
their country destroyed by one man's mania to
Never mind Antifa tearing up our own country.
control them. And I think Trump either doesn't understand or could care less about that suffering. So that's what I think.
And so do you think he has destroyed the West, to go to our title?
He has betrayed the West. He's betrayed human values. He's betrayed the NATO Charter, the Atlantic Charter, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. A lot of what has been done before to try to make sense of how...
Hillary Clinton, your husband, and Barack Obama deported millions upon millions. But you don't mention that.
How difficult it is to restrain people who want unaccountable power. And none of us in this room, including all of us on this panel, would choose to live under a regime that was so unaccountable that it could act with impunity the way that Putin does, except that's who Trump is modeling himself
I don't think we would be having this debate under that kind of regime, for sure. We will come back, I suspect, to the conservatism and liberalism clash within the West, but thank you for that. Peter, do you agree that the Trump administration's actions on Ukraine have produced a rift in the West?
Well, first, I think you really don't like him.
Got her.
You know, that is absolutely true. But I really, not only do I not like him, I don't like him because of what he's doing to the United States and the world. And I think you should take a hard look at it. If
I don't know. Interest rates have dropped. And I refinanced my car. And my payment's $200 less. And I still have the same amount of time left. So it's not like it changed anything, just a lower payment. Now I'm waiting for the interest rates to drop on the housing.
I think that there is something good that will come out of it.
Peter,
what I think Trump is doing in America, I think it is reaction for something for some policies that really went too far from the regular people, too far from reality. So, you know, we saw the cancel culture.
Nailed it.
We saw the woke revolution. I don't agree with the gender revolution, the climate alarmism.
Which gender? Women having their rights?
No, let Peter,
Hillary,
Peter go on.
I think there are two genders. So, but some of
us
think that there is more than one. Or
what does having two genders have to do with women's rights? What does him saying there's only two genders have to do with women's rights? Are you talking about real women? Hillary or fake women?
More than two gender. I think there is male and female, and the rest probably is a social construct. So this is something that went too far.
But does that justify selling out the people of Ukraine who are on
Yes.
the front lines dying to save their freedom and their two genders?
Okay,
And
Yes.
that's what you're worried about?
Can I please finish my points? I'm sorry that it makes you nervous. I'm really sorry for that.
Make me nervous. It makes me
No, but seriously, can we let Peter finish, please? Can we let Peter finish, please?
You just
I have to say one more thing. You said that Ukraine fights for our future and for our freedom.
Yeah.
I think first Ukraine fights for Ukraine's future, Ukraine's freedom, and Ukraine's sovereignty and independence. So we should help them, of course. But what I see in some people in the West, they are trying to help the Ukraine. But that's another question. I don't know if Trump's administration is helping the Ukraine to stop the war. I believe that there is such an approach. I don't see any other strong geopolitical player who would be able to force Russia to stop killing the Ukrainian people and stop destroying their country. I don't see. Maybe China, but China makes nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know if the pressure, if Trump is forcing Russia in the way that they will stop the war. I don't know. I only see that the only Americans right at the moment can make it. I see the dialogue.
Do you think Europe could put more pressure on Russia, for example, by putting pressure on Turkey, by targeting the refineries of oil more, and so on?
I think Europe also makes some pressure. We release sanctions. We do what we can. But I think the Russians, they probably don't care. When I visited Ukraine, I saw the goodwill of all people in Ukraine. They were really united and willing to stop the war.
They are not united. Remember how many were trying to flee the country? And then all the trans people found out they're still men and they have to fight in the war.
But they're keeping fighting. They seem to be.
They also made some steps that probably a year ago no one from them would allow to say or even suggest. Now they are ready to make some steps back. Now it's ball on the Russian side, but I don't see any goodwill on their side. So
indeed, we probably are agreed on that point.
Some viewers may find the following.
Oh. From one stupid politician. Well, she's no longer a politician anymore. She's just a fucking drain on society who should probably be in jail for multiple murders. Now let's switch to another retard, a Jewish retard, and I forgot what this video is all about.
Video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. No, Will Robinson.
Alright, if you hear me sniffling, I don't know what the fuck. It's like allergies or, I don't know, maybe I got a cold because my throat's so... Well, yeah, it would be allergies. They are not united. Remember? It's weird. It's kind of like a president using drones to attack and kill an American citizen. Who did that? Barack Obama.
In our legislation, we say that ICE agents should not be anywhere near polling places. Again, I think most Americans agree. You talk to people at polling places who operate the polling places, they don't want these ICE agents near them and intimidating.
I don't know, because I run into the people at the polling commission every once in a while, and they don't say anything negative. The only thing you can't do around the polls is wear a political attire. That's the only requirement. Well, that and you have to show an ID.
Them.
About 83% of the American people, including majority Democrats, support voter ID laws.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, the voter ID laws that, first, each state can have its own voter ID laws, and some do and some don't. But secondly, what they are proposing in the so-called SAFE Act is like Jim Crow 2.0. They make it so hard to get any kind of voter ID that more than 20 million...
Chucky boy. I have 3 IDs. You mean to tell me they can't get one? You are so full of shit. Have you ever listened to those stream interviews where all the white people are like, oh, they're just a disenfranchised, they can't find the DMV and all that weird shit. And then you go and talk to the black people and they're like, yeah, I have an ID. I know how to use a computer. I can tell you where the DMV's at right now. Who are you talking to, Chuck? Who are you talking? That was New York City, by the way.
Million legitimate people, mainly poorer people and people of color, will not be able to vote under this law.
God damn it. I can't get an ID. I can't vote. I'm a person of color. God damn it.
What you talking about, Willis?
Did he just say what I think he said?
Poorer people and people of color will not be able to vote under
Yo, that didn't work out for Biden, did it?
This law.
Voter ID is a must. We're not stupid. The black community, we're very intelligent, and yes, we have identification. So please stop it already. We have birth certificates. You need the ID to get into.
Hold on. Daily product placement. Product placement. I swear I don't get paid for this. I actually have to pay for every single can I drink. And I'm okay with it.
To different places, from private sectors to public sectors. Even when you apply for a job, you gotta have ID. So
you need an ID to get welfare?
Stop using the black community.
Birth certificate, marriage license.
Nailed it.
Pass the SAVE Act, dummies.
We will not let it pass in the Senate. We are fighting it tooth and nail.
Why?
It's an outrageous proposal that is, that shows the sort of political bias of the MAGA right. They don't want poor people to vote. They don't want people of color to vote because they often don't vote for them.
Stop it. Get some help.
Pedophile.
So is it me, or is the whole voter ID conversation stupid?
It's stupid.
Chuck Schumer last week said that voter ID is Jim Crow 2.0.
Yep.
So he's suggesting that it's racist. Now, being as though we live in a society where ID is required for so many different things, why is it only problematic or racist in regards
to... Wait a minute. Can I buy booze without an ID? Can I send my 20-year-old daughter to the store and get me some weed? No. No. They ID. They ID.
The voting. And why do black people keep allowing them to suggest that you're too dumb and too poor and too incapable and too damn stupid to go down to your local DMV and get an ID or a driver's license? So if voter ID is racist, then asking for ID at the bank has to be racist also. Because you need an ID to open a bank account. You need an ID to enroll your children in school and daycare.
Can I cash a giant check without an ID?
You need an ID when you get a new job. Employers ask for ID for new hires. You need an ID to sign up for welfare. You need an ID to get on a plane. You need ID to walk inside of a federal building. And it's a million other things that there are ID requirements for. Why is it that voting is the only thing? This is the only argument that they can make, is that voter ID is racist. That's how you know it's bullshit. If ID is racist, then get rid of ID across the board then. So if the goal is to secure our elections, right, one of the most basic, most common sense steps that you can take is to require ID when you go to vote. It's really that simple. And if you are an adult just walking around living life with no ID and have no ability to obtain one,
you're a piece of shit.
You probably don't need to be voting anyway. I'm just saying, you probably don't need to be voting anyway. You need to get your life together. And if we just being real, if we just being honest, the reason that Democrats don't want ID is because they want illegal aliens to vote in our elections. That's why they opened the border. That's why they don't want them to leave the country. And that's why they don't want anybody having to present ID when they go into the voting booth.
I feel you, brother.
It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal. You lose.
Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already.
You're right, you do. If you make any returns, pretty much, they need an ID. Glad you brought that up, clown. How you doing, brother? All right.
Right now.
So this is Leon, and I couldn't. Well, actually, I'm not going to show a TED Talk because TED Talks tend to get me not canceled, suspended, maybe like a strike, But the way he does this with his ugly face, we'll go with this. But I want you to listen to what this dumb bitch has to say. Because if this is our future, we need to slap the shit out of these people.
Most of us feel discomfort when we think about this scenario. And most of us feel discomfort when we think about
pedos.
But just like
pedos,
we are not responsible for our feelings. We do not choose them. But we are responsible for our actions. And we must make a decision. It is in our responsibility to reflect and to overcome our negative feelings about pedos, and to treat them with the same respect we treat other people with.
Whoa. I'm not treating a fucking pedophile with any respect, you dumb cunt. The fuck is wrong with you?
And to treat them with the same respect we treat other people with. We should accept that are people who have not chosen their sexuality.
Yes,
and
they
who,
have.
Unlike most of us, will never be able to live it out freely if they want to lead an upright life. We should accept that pedophilia is a sexual preference, a thought, a feeling, and not an act. We should differentiate between child. We shouldn't increase the suffering of
yes,
by
we should.
excluding them, by blaming and mocking them. By doing that, we increase their isolation and we increase the chance of child.
Not gonna lie to you, that might be the most impressive way I've seen somebody try to shift the blame of a criminal act onto other people who have nothing to do with it. Because you mean to tell me I am somehow going to be at fault for not being welcoming and opening my arms to people who think about children, and when they're shunned and when they're all alone, the proper response in their mind is not to seek a little bit of therapy to get that stupid thought out of their head. Their correct response is to child. Yeah, that don't make any fucking sense whatsoever, especially when you factor in, I don't know, examples of people who've thought about this and acted upon it, which continues that negative stigma.
Former legislative candidate Joel Koskin is headed to prison. The former South Dakota legislative candidate was walked out of the courtroom in handcuffs after the judge sentenced him to 10 years in prison on charges. According to earlier court documents, the victim in the case was a child. Today's hearing came after a judge rejected a plea agreement in the case.
A particularly horrific case described by the prosecution as every parent's nightmare. It relates to 30-year-old Nathan Bennett, who worked at the Partu King Street Nursery in Bristol from July 2024. This began to emerge in February last year when parents of children at the nursery and indeed staff raised concerns. The manager of the nursery, Victoria Tutton, viewed CCTV footage of Nathan Bennett.
It's things you don't want happening to your children or any children at the hands of a grown adult.
Bennett was immediately sent home, and Avon and Somerset police later arrested him at his home.
They sent him home?
Itself in the centre of Bristol here was subsequently shut down. Now, we've had 4 days of evidence last week here during the trial at Bristol Crown Court. The jury heard how staff had noted that Bennett would sit children on his lap for lengths of time, wearing trousers with holes in the
what the
and seemed
fuck?
territorial over certain toddlers and indeed their parents. One nursery practitioner who gave evidence here in court described how Bennett had a jealous attachment with 5 children and would take control of them. Now, this was an extremely distressing case for the jury to hear. Videos of 2 of the children, and these children were aged around 2 or 3 years old, were played in the case, referred to only as Child A and Child E. Child E's mother gave evidence telling the jury her son had demonstrated how he'd been abused.
Oh,
the mother told the court, "I got him to stop doing it. I asked him when did that happen, and he said it happened at nursery." The prosecutor, Virginia Cornwall, described the case, as I say, as every parent's worst nightmare. And today, Nathan Bennett, who is 30, was found guilty of all 8 charges.
Death?
There was 2 charges of 2 charges of and 4 charges of sexual.
Jesus Christ.
When dismissing the jury, the judge said that this was a case which involved the youngest children which he has ever dealt with, acknowledged the jury how distressing this case has been. We've also just had a statement from Avon and Somerset Police, who led the investigation. They described that Nathan Bennett was trusted to care for children but committed against the very young children.
Is he dead yet? Is he dead yet?
At his place of work. An investigation involving such young children was deeply challenging and distressing for all concerned. I would like to pay...
You're right. You're 100% right. They don't give a fuck about Islam doing that shit over there. They just turn their other cheek.
Tribute to the support and strength shown by those families. That's Temporary Detective Inspector Lucy Ford. Bennett will be sentenced on the 16th of March.
Because who among thee would be proud enough to say in front of a crowd of people, hey, I like thinking about children? You will be shunned for that, because the immediate, proper, and correct response is to say, fuck you, you're a weirdo. You are not somebody who is normal. You need to seek a little bit of help. But because we live in a world where motherfuckers want to shame the common sense individual and not the motherfucker who needs to be shamed into doing something better with their life, we have a bunch of people dedicated to trying to make it seem like if you are not opening, you are somehow the problem. And I'm here to remind everybody, no. You can have all these types of moments in your life where you're trying to understand people and you're trying to be welcoming.
They tried to get a 12-year-old girl and she pulled out an axe and a knife and they wanted to arrest the girl.
You have a line that you know if somebody crosses, you're going to have a fucking problem with it. And I would like to think, even though we've spent all these years together and I've said things you don't agree with and you've said things I don't agree with, there's a common understanding that the children should be left alone. It's embarrassing that this standard is being brought to my attention at the exact same time when I have to deal with an administration not really being forthcoming with information that pertains to children being violated. So across the board, I can't get behind any of this shit, because who among thee could actually want to harbor positive affirmation to somebody who thinks about it and acts upon it? Because you could call me hateful, you could call me ignorant. They're one and the same in my book, and I'll gladly have anybody disagree with me on it, because I am uncomfortable with anybody who acts upon it, and I'm uncomfortable with anybody who thinks about it. I want you to stomach how stupid I'm about to sound for like the next minute. You want me to understand that if I don't invite somebody who thinks about children to the cookout or to the party or to the club activity, they're going to get revenge on me dating a kid I don't know. They're going to... And as each, this is a horrible description, thrust pans out, it's just payback on me? No, absolutely not. Because none of that makes sense. It is completely ignoring the personal responsibility of somebody who's thinking about a criminal act and acting upon a criminal act and putting it on me. And it's not really something I'm going to stand for. It's not really something I'm going to agree with, and it will embolden.
All right. So, you know how conspiracies have been around since the CIA invented the word. And, well, remember when Epstein's not dead? They switched his body. He's living in Israel. Well, now there's another rumor that started. Conspiracy. And I really can't get behind this one 100%. But I could see it. I could see it. Maybe I'm like 80% on this.
Abe, who the hell is this? Huh? Who the hell is this tiny Asian man pretending to be Ghislaine Maxwell? Welcome to another conspiracy theory when it comes to Epstein. See, when you don't release anything, when stuff's redacted, when dudes aren't arrested, when people are constantly arrested for human trafficking, but nobody gets arrested for purchasing humans, You leave yourself wide open to a lot of conspiracies.
No, I was
So
thinking
saw
it
this
was
the
the
other day in my
nose,
feed.
but then you look at
Ghislaine
some of the pictures. I
Maxwell
don't know
was
if really. Yeah, in the pictures where her nose looks different, she's smiling. Here, this guy's not smiling.
deposed by the GOP Oversight Committee. And as I was scrolling through my feed, I was like, oh, Ghislaine Maxwell looks like a tiny Mexican landscaper with a bad haircut. And I just kept going. But then I clicked on a dude's, he was talking about like her ears attached and detached. I was like, what is this? And now my feed is completely full of absolutely nobody buying that Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison right now and that she was totally swapped out with a body.
Yeah, I was going to say, they probably swapped her out when they moved her to Texas.
I know that sounds crazy. But the Epstein being swapped out sounds crazy too, but the FBI certainly thought it was worth investigating a random 4chan user who made a post. I mean, they went crazy. They spent millions and millions and millions of dollars immediately investigating the person who made that post.
Yeah, it does. It changes your
They
nostrils.
found it, by the way, immediately on 4chan about some dude who worked at the prison saying that he thinks they moved Epstein out. Well, if they moved Epstein out, they moved this chick out too. And whatever the hell is going on over here is not helping the situation. So this is the House Oversight deposition. This was given a few weeks ago.
I saw the job
and
picture.
she just says, I'm taking the fifth, I'm taking the fifth, I'm taking
And
the
I
fifth.
couldn't.
In a Mexican accent. It's weird.
Bunk.
And so people were sitting there going,
The nose I
hold
could
on a
possibly,
second.
but not the
Her
jaw.
earlobes are attached. But Ghislaine Maxwell's earlobes, when she was younger, were detached. Now listen, it might be a Joe Biden thing. Go look that up. Go look at... So, Joe Biden's ears attach, detach, attach, and detach again. And people were saying, well, that's because of plastic surgery. Do people like attach and then reattach and then detach their earlobe? People pay for it. Listen, anything's possible. But I'm not throwing the lizard people wearing skin suits out the window. Anything's plausible. Look how crazy this world we are that we live in is. I have to assume she's in prison, but I'm not leaving out the possibility that, yeah, they'll body double her. They'll body double her.
All right.
No, man, it's far. How will they ever keep that a secret? You don't need to keep secrets. What the hell are you talking about? I love this notion. Hey, man, there was no conspiracy to kill JFK, all right? Because people can't keep secret. No, they totally landed on the moon because nobody can keep a secret. Keep a secret. You have people all over the place right now. They're saying, like, look at Michael Tracy and all these other people. They're saying there was no child trafficking ring on Epstein Island. This is all blown out of proportion. Look at the Epstein docs. There's nothing in there corroborating widespread child trafficking and ritualistic cannibalisms. What is she in jail for then? What was Epstein arrested for in 2009?
Racketeering.
Yeah, they're definitely not trafficking anybody. We keep P. Diddy, he's a children. We keep arresting billionaires trafficking children, but we don't arrest anybody who bought the children.
Yep.
You don't need secrets. It's way out in the open. Way out in the open. And most people are like, again, leftards, they think they could take Trump down with it, then they get a little bit motivated. But no,
You notice with all these big names that they didn't want out,
everyone's just kind of like
still deflecting.
So yeah, you don't need replacing Ghislaine Maxwell is the least craziest thing when it comes to Epstein. That would make total sense. Anyway, what are people talking about? So, like, her jawline has changed and her chin has changed.
Oh my!
Now listen, she's either chubbed up on carb-heavy prison food or it's a different person. She could have carved up. Definitely.
Oh, she's not smiling in either picture. You're right. The other one, she is smiling. Look at the shape of the nostrils, too.
I just don't know if carving
And
up
that chin is ridiculous.
drastically changes
It
your
looks like
jawline. Like,
there's no chin here, and you've got a pronounced chin. You're right. The ears look the same.
that looks like a completely different jawline. Like that's a very square jawline. How'd that happen? Eating Haagen-Dazs ain't gonna do that.
So is that a guy?
Put on a bunch of prison food carb weight's gonna make you droopy and saggy. It's not gonna make your jawline more defined. That doesn't remotely look like her, man. Okay, but hey, man, stress could do. I see some people saying, "Hey, listen, it's just stress, you idiots."
Why doesn't she have gray hair?
First of all,
is she dyeing her hair in prison?
I don't know that they swapped G-Max out, but you don't know that they didn't swap G-Max out. We're just both going off of math here. It's what's plausible. So unless you got a hair sample, I don't know how you could be so convinced that they didn't move her out. Oh well, that's absurd. That's absurd. Yeah, with the human traffic, with these idiots hanging out in the Oval Office, with these idiots hanging out at Buckingham Palace, with these idiots hanging out with royalty, and with these idiots constantly being arrested for.
You're right. So can you see the red? So look at this right here, right under her nose, those two lines that go around the side of the lips. Look how wide that is compared to this. It looks a lot wider over here. Yeah. That's definitely not a fatter version of her. That's not her.
Child rape and trafficking. Yeah. Body doubling her. That's the weird thing.
Even the lips are different.
Elvis had body doubles. Every world leader has body doubles. Go look at all. Adolf had body. Saddam. Everybody's had body doubles. But no,
Joe
no.
Biden
Now
has clones.
of course, they would never use a body double in this situation. Really? They would never use a body. Well, listen, she just put on weight. Okay, let's say she just put on weight and now she looks Chinese. Let's go with that. What is it? People are beginning to figure out that they may have switched out Maxwell too. I would not be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if they did it to. I think it's plausible that they did it to Epstein.
Is that why
they
she's
swapped
pleading
Epstein
the
out?
fifth?
They're going to swap her out as well. How will they keep it a secret? They don't need to keep it a secret. Okay, so now they're like, okay, well, look at the nose, man. The nose is completely different. Again, that's because of weight and stress. Stress will do things to you. I guess.
No, it won't.
Those are completely different eyes, though. Like, I mean, maybe? I don't know. I've never put on that much weight. Look at her eyes. They're completely anything. Maybe she's on hormones. Maybe she's got, I don't know, water retention issues, and it's just bloated her all up, and it's completely changed the shape of her. Or maybe that's eye makeup. I don't know. I doubt it. This is wild. It's not difficult. The person they carted out in front of the cameras is not Ghislaine Maxwell. I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked at all.
This is a cool office. I like the little.
Again, I've never seen anybody. Maybe I don't know that many people. I've never seen anybody bloat to the point where their jawline completely changes and their nose completely changes. But I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of people. Oh, you fucking, of course they did. She just put on weight. Okay, I agree. That's totally plausible. But you don't know either. Like, all right. How are you so sure?
My nose always looked
These
the
people
same,
are
whether
doing
I
crazy stuff.
chubby
They're
or
eating
skinny.
babies, but they wouldn't. Listen. They'll traffic, rape, murder, and eat babies, but they draw the line at switching people out of prison. Man, come on, that's ridiculous, right? All right, we'll commit a certain amount of crimes, but getting somebody out of prison, that's impossible. It's impossible. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching the news. We're kept up to date with conspiracy theories. Subscribe.
Yeah, now that I see those side by side, the other one I saw was completely different pictures.
Over the next few months, Fisher sends Epstein the he was no more denying it. It's time to do your due diligence. It's time to actually look into this. And for everyone who spent years doubting them, now's your chance to help shine a light on the darkness. What if I told you that Epstein wasn't just connected to secret societies?
There's a documentary series called Into the Light.
He was in them. That he had real esoteric knowledge. That he was a part of a 158-year-old secret society that most people have never heard of. And he even wanted to start his own. Get ready, because after this, you'll never see the world the same. In part 1 of Epstein Unveiled, We went through the genetics in detail. The baby farms, the egg doctor, the CRISPR research, the DNA kits shipped to Dubai. And there's still more to discuss on that front. But right now, we need to go to a layer that I didn't get into in part 1. Because for a lot of people, it's just too unfathomable. It can't be real. Epstein, the inner circle.
Who's Leslie Ross? That looks like Epstein.
Now, before we dive into this methodically, I want to address some things. If you've been online the past few weeks, you've probably seen some pretty wild claims about what's in the files. It would seem that the Ball or Bale bank account was some type of OCR error, and I did look for spirit cooking and cannibal terms, but I couldn't find any EFTAs that could confirm this. So there is a lot of noise out there, a lot of reaction content, and that's really why I wasn't interested in looking into this in the first place. But my workflow is, if I can't verify it, I'm not going to use it. I just want to show you what's actually in the documents and connect the dots. That's it. I'll have the EFTA numbers on your screen so you can look it up yourself. What's actually in there is worse than the noise. So let's start with this. This is an email from Epstein's files, and keep in mind, at this point he's already been convicted. Someone in his circle is sending him this. Suggestions for an old guy, super smart, well connected, that wants to continue legacy of old school secret society. Continue the legacy, not start one. Continue one. An old school secret society. The same month, this comes in. Just got a note from Bob Pixie. Zodiac is one of the really cool ones. 12 members. Still very secret. Dinners in exotic locations. Okay, so I looked into the Zodiac Club. This is real. Founded in 1868 in Manhattan.
Interesting year.
Only 12 members at any time. Each one gets assigned a zodiac sign. Aries, Taurus, Gemini. And you only get replaced when someone dies. And this members list is pretty crazy. JP Morgan was Brother Libra in 1903. Bob Pyrie ran Rothschilds Incorporated, the American arm of the Rothschild banking dynasty. Paul Volcker, the chairman of the Federal Reserve. So Epstein's circle was being consulted on nominating Murray Gell-Mann, a Nobel Prize winning physicist, for membership. But it gets crazy because in 1910, a group of men traveled in secret to Jekyll Island.
No minorities or women.
They used fake names, told the press they were going duck hunting, but what they were actually doing was writing the blueprint for what became the Federal Reserve, the central bank of the United States. And at least 2 of those men were members of the Zodiac Club. So, you have a secret society that's been around for 158 years, whose members include the Rothschilds, the architect of the Federal Reserve, JP Morgan, and Jeffrey Epstein got an invitation? And Rothschild isn't just a name that shows up once. Ariane de Rothschild had scheduled meetings with Epstein in New York. Jacob Rothschild was forwarding messages through her. Epstein was sending gifts to Alice de Rothschild at NYU. There's even an email to Peter Thiel that says, quote, "As you probably know, I represent the Rothschilds." That's just sitting in the files. And it doesn't stop at the Zodiac Club. This is in Epstein's own bio. He wrote this himself. Former member of the Trilateral Commission, the Council on Foreign Relations. If you're not familiar, the Trilateral Commission was founded by David Rockefeller in 1973. About 390 members from North America, Europe, and Asia. The Council on Foreign Relations is probably the most powerful foreign policy organization in the United States. And Epstein listed membership in both on his own resume.
Why?
And then you have Ghislaine Maxwell casually emailing, "I'm coming in for the trilateral meetings. We can coordinate some trouble." Coordinate some trouble? On top of that, Peter Mandelson, one of the most powerful politicians in Britain, is emailing Epstein directly. There are plane rides to Bilderberg meetings in the files. So just to be clear, this is where we are. Zodiac Club, Trilateral Commission, Council on Foreign Relations, Bilderberg, all of it documented in his own files, and some of it on his own resume. But it goes deeper than this. When I started looking at how this network actually operated internally, there was a whole hierarchy. Look at this. I was told by my inner circle not to have any communication with him, and if I did, I would be in deep trouble. Think about that. Someone was told by the inner circle, not by Epstein personally, by the inner circle, that they couldn't talk to someone, and if they did, they'd be in deep trouble. Another email. Mike was a part of our inner circle, and when someone made an unauthorized introduction into the network, brought someone in without permission, Epstein was furious. My inner circle putting me at risk? There were even access codes. This email literally instructs someone on how to get past a gate. That was the credential for getting to Reid Hoffman.
Reid Hoffman, yep.
Friend of the first circle. Inner circle, first circle, initiates. If you know anything about the history of fraternal orders and secret societies, this is exactly how they operate. And then I found this email thread from June 2011. This ties it all together. It's between Epstein and a woman named Marina, who's writing from Istanbul. And Epstein says, trying to build the 4 levels of Topkapi ideas, initiates, favorites, beliefs, principles. Topkapi Palace, that's the Ottoman Sultan's residence.
Nice.
The Topkapi harem had a formal hierarchy. Novice, trainee, favorite, chief consort. And Epstein is designing his own version of that. 4 levels with names. And Marina responds, by the way, what are the levels at Jeffrey's harem? She's asking about the levels like it's an existing system, like everyone knows about it. And Epstein responds by quoting Mozart's opera, The Abduction from the Sarajevo, which is literally an opera about women held captive in a harem. The harem meant protection for those inside from those outside. That's the same language secret societies have used for centuries. Protection for the initiated. Let's keep going.
First time I ever heard of a harem, believe it or not, was the Hamilton play.
Someone sent Epstein a Bohemian Grove documentary with a note, so I thought of you. And it goes deeper. Moritz Skaugen, a Norwegian shipping magnate in Epstein's network, emails Epstein from Singapore. EFTA 018774737. Greetings from Singapore. On my way to California to try to understand about the people at the Bohemian Grove. So it's not just a documentary. He's flying to California to investigate the Bohemian Grove and reporting back to Epstein? Epstein donated $50,000 to the Order of the Golden Sphinx Gala, another secret order. The Circle of the Inter-Alliance, a Paris elite club? It's in his emails. Okay, Zodiac Club, Trilateral, Bohemian Grove, Golden Sphinx, Circle of the Inter-Alliance. A 4-level initiation system modeled on an Ottoman harem, and an inner circle with access codes and consequences for breaking rank. This wasn't a guy who went to a couple of fancy dinners. He was collecting these things. And he named it EFTA 01613019, an iMessage from 2017. Epstein is discussing who should be brought into his network. Bill Hyman, former DARPA head, Jeffrey Ling, Ed Boyden from MIT Neuroscience. Both are welcome to our secret society. They will join Joy Ito, Ed Boyden, and Caleb. So Joy Ito is in the secret society? Our secret society. That's what he called it. His network of MIT, DARPA, and Gates Foundation connections. And it's not metaphorical. He literally typed it. But the thing is, if you look at this text chain, the person texting Epstein, the DOJ redacted their name. Every message, the sender's blacked out. But if you read it, you can figure out who it is. The sender says Jeffrey Ling, former head of DARPA, is, quote, a very, very good friend of mine. He tried to make me work at DARPA. They say they're in Seattle with BG, Bill Gates. through April 29th. They named Mark Sussman and Jeff Lamb Gates Foundation leadership, calling them old guard gargoyles refusing to let other opinions in. Basically, this is advice on how Gates should handle Trump. They tell Epstein that both of them had advised BG to pick a topic and make a deal, quote, something quid pro quo. And Jeffrey Ling isn't just some random person. Do you guys know who this is?
Army Colonel?
He founded DARPA's Biological Technologies Office, the division that builds brain-computer interfaces. So this MW calls this guy a total genius who knows how to make science fiction science fact. And Epstein's response? Both are welcome to our secret society. This is most likely Melanie Walker, Gates Foundation executive, World Economic Forum agenda contributor, and former DARPA advisor. Why is she trying to recruit people into a secret society? And then there's this, EFTA 01903035. March 2013, Epstein writes to Boris Nikolic, Bill Gates' personal science advisor. We talked about him in part 1. It's about what he calls uncensored comments about the Giving Pledge. The Giving Pledge, Gates and Buffett's initiative where billionaires commit to giving away most of their wealth.
That's what Bill did.
And Epstein proposes turning it into a secret fraternity. The actual initiation ceremony is shrouded in mystery. It may take several hours and involve chanting, robes, blindfolds, and candlelight. The pledge will be initiated into the secrets of the fraternity. From secret mottos and grips to passwords and the meaning behind rituals, he will be sworn to secrecy. Why not follow the Giving Pledge with an initiation into the most select group? Yeah, we're here, guys. Sworn to secrecy. He wanted to build a secret society out of the world's richest people, and he sent it to the man who advised Bill Gates on science. Then there's Brock Pierce, crypto pioneer, former child actor with his own allegations, EFTA 02620047, October 2018. Pierce and Epstein are texting about visiting Little St. James, and Pierce casually mentions where he lives. Sure thing, I live in the first Masonic temple built in the New World, 250 Calle de Cristo.
I'm sorry?
In San Juan, Puerto Rico. That's his house. And he's planning trips to Epstein's Island from it. David Hansen. You might not know his name, but you know his work. Creator of Sophia, the world's most famous humanoid robot. The one that went viral. The one that got citizenship in Saudi Arabia. David Hansen is all over the Epstein archive. January 2013. Ben Goertzel, one of the world's leading AI researchers, sends this email to Epstein and Hansen. I was talking to Jeffrey Epstein today, and he's potentially interested in having you make him a custom humanoid robot for him. He's been talking to you about you potentially funding our joint AGI robotics research efforts, as well as about him sculpting a Robo-Epstein for you.
I know it.
That would be awesome. A Robo-Epstein?
Body double.
A humanoid robot in Epstein's own image? Hansen sent Epstein a 6-page white paper for something called the Genie Lab. $84,000 a month, $3 million over 36 months. The research included mind uploading, quote, using AI in large datasets to create functional portraits of existing personalities.
No shit.
But here's what's on Hansen's CV, the same CV that was in Epstein's files. Page 10. OTO active 2010 to present. That's Aleister Crowley's occult order. Now look, on its own, being a part of the OTO isn't weird. It's an active worldwide organization, a lot of artists and academics are into it. Same with Kabbalah, same with ceremonial magic. None of that is a crime. But when you keep reading the CV, page 7, there's a 1995 art project. Kabbalah Labyrinth with Nodes of Sensual Delight. Page 10, a 1993 symposium. Miracles and Monstrosities, Genetically Engineered Art. And Hansen's relationship with Epstein wasn't brief. Skype calls through 2017. In May 2018, 8 months before Epstein's final arrest, someone wrote, "Crazy meeting with Hansen." So individually, none of this is damning, but when you put it together, OTO on the CV, a $3 million lab proposal, a Robo-Epstein, Kabbalah Labyrinth, genetically engineered art, and the guy he's building all of this for is running baby farms and buying Crowley's sex magic books? That's when the pattern starts to look different. January 7th, 2015. Yosha Bach, an AI researcher at MIT Media Lab in Harvard, emails Epstein from Berlin. He mentions two people, Michael Vassar and Michelle Riley. They're in Puerto Rico, and they want to visit the island. Epstein responds immediately. Have them come tomorrow at 12. Leave at 5. His assistant books the flights. January 9th, Epstein emails Bach about the visit. I like the idea. He and Michelle were here yesterday. Again, you were right. He was fun. And blue-eyed. Yeah. 2 days later, January 11th, 2015, Michelle Riley, quantum computing scientist, Princeton Math, Columbia Physics, co-funded a startup with MIT professor Seth Lloyd, sends this email to Epstein. Thanks, Jeff. You asked for fun projects. I think we're mostly starving for great conspiracies today. 10 to 12 person coordinated secrets. What about a new Rosicrucianism of sorts? A new Rosicrucianism? She's proposing they build one. What are your thoughts on funding and constructing your own intelligence agency? She even talks about the science.
Is that supposed to like encompass U.S., Israeli, Palantir? Palantir would be considered AI, and a lot of these world governments, militaries use Palantir.
I'd also like to do an exclusive science salon sort of thing at a place like Esalen, or maybe on Little St. James. Experimentation with philosophers and scientists examining physiological stuff.
It's almost like Gates and Epstein with the new Nazis.
Experimentation on the island.
For the Jews.
High-profile island orgies also independently come to mind, but I have a strong suspicion that you may already have that covered. Fraternal regards from one Coney Island baby to another. Hold up.
Wait a minute.
Fraternal regards? That's fraternal order language. But did you catch that? One Coney Island baby to another. In the early 1900s, Coney Island was famous for putting premature babies on display in incubators as a sideshow attraction. From one incubator baby to another. And she's writing this to the man running baby farms. Epstein received this at 10:34 p.m. At 11:02 p.m., 28 minutes later, he forwarded it to Yosha Bach. Bach replied at 12:26 a.m. A shadow research planning academy where scientific visionaries project future research agendas in new disciplines. A series of workshops focusing on neglected knowledge, such as Russian psychopharmacology,
media people.
Buddhist psychology, Chinese opinion control. A network of media people that can be used to efficiently place and coordinate friendly items in our corrupt opinion market. Psychedelic retreats for groups of select individuals with the explicit goal to create a tightly knit group capable of radically thinking and influencing global affairs. There are some more that I would not want to put into email. How much more do they need to spell it out for you? A shadow academy, media manipulation, psychedelic retreats for global influence, and things that he wouldn't put in writing. Bach wasn't an outsider. Epstein funded him directly. He stayed in Epstein's Manhattan apartment. Epstein's office booked his flights. He's all over the archive. December 8th, 2014. John Brockman, founder of the Edge Foundation, the man who organized the Billionaires' Dinners, sets up an art event in Palo Alto. Larry Page, co-founder of Google.
You know who sold a lot of art? Hunter Biden.
Elon Musk. Anne Wojcicki, co-founder of 23andMe, the DNA company. Jeffrey Epstein. In the entertainment, Marina Abramovich, masterclass on art, segueing into something spontaneously orchestrated.
Isn't that Jay-Z's
an
buddy?
Abramovich piece. Marina Abramovich, the performance artist, performing for a room containing the co-founder of Google, Elon Musk, the CEO of a DNA company, and Jeffrey Epstein. You, however, are far more mysterious and intriguing. That's how you.
I don't see Elon Musk on that email. What the fuck is he talking about?
However, are far more mysterious and intriguing. That's how Brockman described Epstein to the other guest. Mysterious and intriguing. Also on the guest list, Mucha Prada, and in a footnote about the architect Rem Koolhaas, Brockman noted he couldn't attend. Unfortunately, is in Moscow, December 7th, meeting with Putin. And about those billionaire dinners, EFTA 0251169, quote, "It is Bill Gates who at the end of the summer began prodding Epstein to begin a process of public rehabilitation. That means Gates wasn't duped. He initiated the comeback." And after one of Brockman's dinners, the ones with Bezos, both Google founders, Musk, Epstein emails Brockman, EFTA 01929775.
Goyim!
"Your Goyim dinner was amazing. Thank you very much for including me. Where are the Jews?" That's how he talked about a room full of the most powerful people in technology.
Jews?
Les Wexner, founder of L Brands, Victoria's Secret, Bath & Body Works, The Limited, the man who gave Jeffrey Epstein power of attorney over his entire financial empire, gave him a $13.2 million Manhattan mansion and gave him access to Victoria's Secret. In 1985, New York Magazine published a profile of Les Wexner. And in that profile, Wexner described living with a debug since he was a boy. His father recognized it, calling it the churning.
You mean Dybbuk?
A debug, in Jewish mysticism, is a possessing spirit. The article describes it as the demon that always wakes up in the morning with Wexner and tweaks and pulls at him. Okay, so follow me. Les Wexner, the billionaire who handed his entire empire to Jeffrey Epstein, told a major magazine he lived with a demon, and nobody followed up on that. In 2019, the FBI listed Wexner as one of the 10 co-conspirators in Epstein's trafficking operation.
2019, huh?
That document sat sealed until January 2026.
What the
power of attorney?
Fuck? 7 years. Why was that? Why did that take 7 years? They just had it in the files and nobody checked it? Well, never mind. Whoa. Nobody checked the files until like 2 years ago.
$13 million mansion, Victoria's Secret, FBI co-conspirator. And he told you that he lived with a demon. Now again, I don't think it's a crime to have books on magic or even sex magic, but with this context, we need to cover it.
Why does it say for Islamic study?
Verified some of Epstein's book purchases. Modern Sex Magic, Secrets of Erotic Spirituality. Apparently, the book contains what the publisher describes as the rarest of Crowley's sex magic instructions, and the sexual secrets of Kabbalah dating back to the Temple of Solomon.
Trump's Jewish set?
Secrets of Western Tantra by Christopher S. Hyatt. Hyatt co-founded the Thelemic Order of the Golden Dawn. In the preface, the Aeon of the Child, Crowley's New Age, ruled by a child god. Basically, the reason why I bring this up is because most likely, Epstein knew about the creation of a moon child. Now, most of you probably don't know what that is, and if I explain it right now, you would think I'm crazy. So I'll break that down properly in its own video. All I'll say for now is, if you haven't seen Homunculus Unveiled, go watch it. Interestingly, he also had chakra and kundalini workbooks, Merchants in the Temple by Gianluigi Nuzzi, an expose of Vatican financial corruption in child abuse scandals.
Oh no shit, the Vatican?
But let me show you something that goes way beyond the bookshelf. So Epstein didn't just read about Kabbalah, he was being taught it, apparently, by a man named Mark Fisher, EFTA 02428-208. March 10, 2010, Mark Fisher, an art dealer and Orthodox Jewish spiritual advisor, writes to Epstein. Fisher is undergoing chemotherapy, and between cancer treatments, he's teaching Jeffrey Epstein Kabbalistic doctrine. Quote, "A Jewish soul has a very different structure, different ingredients, relates to its higher levels differently, has different higher levels, relates to itself and other people in a different manner than a non-Jewish soul. To use repair methods on something as sensitive as a soul requires the right tools. You can't fix an Aston Martin with a Ford pickup truck tool set." So he's making an analogy that Jewish souls are the luxury car and non-Jewish meditation is the wrong toolkit.
Oh.
And this isn't Fisher's personal opinion. This is standard Tanya doctrine, the foundational text of the Chabad Lubavitch. And Fisher was teaching it directly to Jeffrey Epstein. Over the next few months, Fisher sends Epstein the Shema Yisrael, the most sacred prayer in Judaism, and asks for his Hebrew name and his mother's Hebrew name.
Well, that's weird.
In Kabbalah, you pray using someone's name through their mother's lineage. He offers weekly phone sessions on Gematria, Torah law, and meditation. And he connects Epstein's philanthropy directly to the Wexner Heritage Foundation. The same Wexner. But this is kind of weird. Fisher died of cancer in December 2011. Epstein told an associate, quote, "Say a prayer on my behalf." But the point is, it does seem that this Jewish soul concept wasn't just a Fisher thing. This permeated the network. EFTA 0182086. David Gelernter, the Yale computer scientist, famous as the Unabomber target, is writing to Epstein about Hebrew calligraphy. And he just casually quotes the Zohar, one of the central texts of Kabbalah.
So the Unabomber wanted this dude dead?
Man, genuine
I wonder
man,
why.
exist only at the moment of sexual union. Epstein responds, "I think you might consider focusing on the negative spaces between the Hebrew letters, much more erotic, a bulging Shema, or throbbing Ka." Gelernter is quoting Kabbalah and Epstein is sexualizing it. That's how the inner circle talked. EFTA 0256152. 7 years after Fisher's emails, 2017, Kathy Rumler, Barack Obama's White House counsel, writes to Epstein.
His fixer?
And here I thought only I had a Jewish soul. And again in 2019, EFTA 02630427, Rumler to Epstein. "You forgot that I have a Jewish soul?" EFTA 0161546, December 2018, Epstein and Steve Bannon texting.
Fuck Steve Bannon.
Bannon asks about breast cancer research. Epstein just says, "Jews?"
Beelzebub.
And then it almost seems like he's saying he's following their directions.
Beelzebub's a demon.
Bannon says, "Love being a junior partner to chosen people of Yahweh." Then Bannon says, "Smart. Let's get rolling." Epstein corrects his spelling, Yahweh, like Mish Agas. Gotta get the spelling right. And then he says, "Not sure Beelzebub is considered a junior partner, more like outside counsel." What? And then there's this.
Wait, did that say? Oh, Philistines.
What? And then there's this. EFTA 018211140, October 2009. Epstein to an associate. This is the way Jews make money.
Yep.
Selling short the shipping futures. Let the Goyim deal in the real world. Then there's this. Epstein emailed the text of Ezekiel chapter 9 verse 6. "Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women." So, Crowley's sex magic, the Aeon of the Child, Kabbalistic soul doctrine, a Bible verse about slaying children. This is what was on the bookshelf and in the inbox. But it wasn't just books. EFTA 02443141.
Whoa.
Maxwell emails Epstein. To take an oath, ancient Romans put a hand on their testicles. That's where the word testimony comes from. Epstein corrects her. You have it backwards. You are required to put a hand on the other person's. The etymology is real. Testimony does come from the Latin testes.
Oh.
But the point isn't the joke. The point is she's sending him esoteric trivia, and he already knows more than she does. That means he was studying this. Okay, now let me show you what they built on the island. This is EFTA 027074666. Architectural calculations for Little St. James. The architect, Ion Nicola. 1.618. Phi, the golden ratio. Every Masonic temple, every cathedral, and Epstein's dome. Nicola calculated the golden ratio for the rocks, for the doors, for the dome. The blue and gold striped dome on Little St. James, which, by the way, the internet has been calling a temple since drone footage first surfaced, was proportioned using sacred geometry.
Oh.
Both properties, Little St. James and Zorro Ranch, Epstein had sundials constructed. Masonic.
Already talking about occults and secret societies, old world.
Tradition. Epstein personally directed their construction. Then there's a structure on Little St. James that was permitted as a music pavilion. But what was built deviated significantly from the plans. Blue and white striped walls, gold dome,
Israel,
acoustic panels, soundproofed walls, a door engineered to prevent people from leaving. Inside, a bookcase flanked by two pillars. Jachin and Boaz, the pillars of Solomon's temple, and every Masonic lodge in the world. Also, take a look at the ceiling. A music pavilion with soundproofed walls, a door that locks from the outside, and the pillars of Solomon's temple. Zorro Ranch, the New Mexico property, stone circles. May 2017, an email from a Saudi-connected intermediary to Jeffrey Epstein about a political meeting on the Yemen conflict. The man who presented to you with the holy black Kaaba dress holds all the strings in his hands, certainly with Washington. The holy black Kaaba dress, the kiswa, the cloth that covers the Kaaba, replaced once a year, given to heads of state, one of the holiest objects in Islam. A man with connections to Washington presented it to Epstein during a political meeting about a war. In a separate exchange, Epstein asked his staff, "Did you take the Islamic cloth to be backed, mounted, preserved, like an artifact?" This is a photo from 2014. Jeffrey Epstein and Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, chairman of DP World, one of the largest port operators on Earth.
Oh, is that part of the
inspecting
thing?
A fragment of the Kiswa.
On the floor?
Islam's holy operators on
That doesn't look like a carpet.
Earth, inspecting a fragment of the Kiswa, Islam's holiest cloth, in the hands of a convicted sex offender. 2003. This photograph was found during the 2005 raid of Epstein's Palm Beach mansion and later authenticated in the Maxwell trial. Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell in an audience with Pope John Paul II. In FBI documents, an Italian cybersecurity figure, described by an FBI source as Epstein's personal hacker, appears in the case files. The same source says this individual may have held a Vatican passport.
And his own hacker.
The Pope photo was displayed in Epstein's Manhattan mansion, and on his bookshelf, Merchants in the Temple, an expose of Vatican financial corruption and child abuse. The Kaaba cloth in his hands, the Pope on his wall, and the pillars of Solomon's temple on his island. Now look at this. An email. A young woman to Jeffrey Epstein. "I can't do Tantra because I even don't know you well." Another email. "When my mom back to Moscow, I want a lot of Tantra sessions."
The fuck?
"I definitely want to learn about Tantra. We did exercises, and I had..." She would be in shock. If she saw you during the Tantra, I didn't tell her anything. Next, a numbered list. 1. Kundalini. 2. Prostate massage. 3. Tantra. Obviously, it would seem he had an advanced knowledge of spiritual practice merged.
They were on YouTube?
Obviously, it would seem he had an advanced knowledge of spiritual practice merged with sexual acts, and it was numbered like a schedule. Had Kundalini class, wow. A Kundalini teacher wrote to Epstein, "You want to live forever? I can show you how."
Don't lose your head. That's how you live forever.
Look at this email. Epstein instructs his financial manager, send $10,000 to Sacred Space. The service? 50 digital detox massage ritual gift certificates? 20 for the various girls, 20 for patients. $10,000 massage rituals for various girls from a company called Sacred Space. Epstein was also deeply involved with Barbara Carella's Urban Tantra Sacred Sex program in Charles Muir's Source Tantra School. This is kind of weird. Epstein visited the Dhammakaya Temple in Thailand, a 4-day trip. Day 4, Dhammakaya Temple. Dhammakaya is kind of strange.
Oh, wow.
It's one of the most controversial Buddhist organizations in the world, cult-like practices, a massive golden dome, UFO shaped, and it seats over 1 million people. The Thai government has raided it multiple times.
Really?
Daniel Siad sent Epstein a link to the Dhammakaya website. In Marrakesh, Epstein had a property with underground disco, underground sitting, underground tunnels. Look at this email. Everything must be kept underground. I just need to find access. It literally may be unfathomable.
Weird. Tunnels. Not that it, possibly it relates. Remember when those Jews were digging tunnels under New York City and the building collapsed on top of them? I remember.
What is going on underground? September 2010, Al Seckel, a cognitive neuroscientist who organized Epstein's island conferences, and Pablos Holman approached Epstein with a proposal. Would you be interested in having all that crap that comes up on a Google search on your name basically disappear? Epstein, yes. Is your yes to our hacking of the internet sites to cause all that crap to disappear? Send the wire details. Listen. The other stuff mysteriously disappears from searches will drive some jerks crazy because they will have no idea how this was possible. Isn't technology fun when you have the right friends? $20,000 to hack search results for a convicted sex offender, and the man offering to do it, Al Seckel, also curated Epstein's guest list, the same guest list that included Larry Page, the co-founder of Google. 4 years later, Seckel fell off a cliff in southern France. But before Seckel died, there's something else in that same email chain. October 2009, Seckel and Epstein are discussing cold fusion. Epstein writes, regarding cold fusion, I killed Pons years ago.
Oh.
Seckel asks, how did you kill him? Stanley Pons, the chemist who claimed to discover cold fusion in 1989. His career was destroyed. He fled to France and never published again. Epstein claims he argued against cold fusion funding in Congress. Says he met with the head of the Mormon Church about it. Whether that's true or exaggerated, this is how Epstein saw himself. He wasn't just funding science, he was deciding which science lived and which died, and he was bragging about it. Now here's how the network maintained its power. Look at this. Epstein emailing himself? Subject line, Wexner. 4 emails in 1 minute, each one adding another line. Wexner, necklace. Mother suicide Sharon. Taxes, New Albany. Bankrupt. Never ever. Each email adds another piece of leverage. Necklace, mother's suicide, is he implying that's a fake suicide? Taxes, bankruptcy, A pressure file? The same Wexner who said he lived with a demon. The same Wexner who gave Epstein his mansion and his financial empire. Ghislaine Maxwell had a playbook for it. If you call, I'd start by saying whatever you saw was fake and part of a blackmail scheme. When blackmail came from the outside, Epstein handled it. There's a Russian girl attempting to blackmail a group of powerful businessmen. Epstein, give me a few days to get information about her. He was a fixer. EFTA 024350005. Epstein to Boris Nikolic. I guess you were one of the altar boys that was not abused, but now feels left out. That's how he casually talked about it.
The fuck?
Y'all want to see something crazy?
No.
It wasn't just notes to himself. This was an operation. EFTA 024-63816. May 2016. Epstein emails himself a memo in real time, documenting a shakedown as it happens. Kadash and Jean-Luc blackmail. Today, at approximately 5:04 p.m., I called Michel Kadash. He told me that boys had gotten Jean-Luc total immunity for $3 million. Jean-Luc would not go in to speak. Whoa. To stop a witness from testifying? EFTA 025-73903. Someone emails Epstein directly. Jeffrey, how many compromising pics of me do you have? Epstein's response, all great.
What the hell?
EFTA 023-71291. An associate writes, has all that vile publicity finally gone away for good? Or do they keep stirring the pot for more blackmail money every few months? And the person writing this just spent the weekend at David Koch's in Palm Beach? And then the destruction. EFTA 017-48314. A memo from his operations team. The document retention policy that we have been operating under is as follows. 1999 through 2006, we shred. 2007 through 2014, we scan and shred. Companies to shred: Little St. James, FTC, JEVIF, Zorro Ranch, JEGE, FT Real Estate, Hyperion, NES, every single entity. We're literally just seeing the tip of the iceberg. EFTA 02474072, January 2016. Epstein writing to Ariane de Rothschild. I recognize that in the past, only you had all the pieces and compartmentalized. With good reason. Copies of the girls' passports, yours, medical emergency numbers, current wills.
Somebody can't.
No one in Europe should see all. In the same thread, someone says, Oliver liked the idea of a special Kazakhstan program as the story to tell others. So cover stories for this operation. Yeah. FBI document, sitting in the Epstein files, top of the page, secret/no foreign. No foreign nationals, classified intelligence. What is this doing in a sex trafficking case? But there's another secret no foreign document I found. EFTA 01683612. and FBI FD 1023. That's a confidential human source report, filed December 2021 out of the Los Angeles field office. Under the active Epstein child sex trafficking investigation, the source says, Epstein was a construct who was playing a role. Specifically, Epstein was running an Israeli state-sponsored technology collection and extortion operation. Whoa.
That's not new.
Epstein's operation lured some of the most powerful and influential people in the world to his home, where they had the opportunity to have you-know-what with you-know-who in lavish situations. This would have been recorded in some way, which could be used to control and extort non-cooperators as needed in the future. And about his death? Due to the number of secrets, Epstein must have been aware of it. It's not surprising he did not last long after being put into custody. The source also names Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine's father, as a very wealthy Israeli intelligence Mossad agent. This is a classified FBI intelligence document. So wait, the FBI knew the entire operation was an Israeli state-sponsored sexual blackmail and technology collection scheme?
Can't be.
Did boys ask you to help obtain former Mossad agents to do dirty investigations? This is getting a lot of press. EFTA 02507-843, March 2018. Epstein forwards an article about Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine's father, to his circle. The article says, Robert Maxwell threatened Mossad. He told them that unless they gave him $400 million to save his crumbling empire, he would expose all he had done for them. Maxwell passed on all the secrets he learned to Mossad in Tel Aviv. In turn, they tolerated his excesses, vanities, and insatiable appetite for a luxurious lifestyle and women. And Epstein forwarded this. January 2018. Epstein writes to Steve Bannon, the man who ran Trump's presidential campaign. I suggest my house, 9 East 71st Street. Similar to SCIF, you choose the time. A SCIF, a classified intelligence facility, soundproof, no electronics. Epstein compared his Manhattan townhouse to a classified intelligence facility. And in those same iMessage threads, Bannon asked Epstein about his scientific verticals. What has he put time, thought, and money behind? Epstein's answer? Difference between the unexplainable and the occult. Bannon says, I love that. You familiar with Newton and alchemy? Epstein says, very. The Philosopher's Stone. Bannon says, remember, we're showing something that will mesmerize folks. So they're filming something. A documentary.
Steve Bannon.
Bannon later asked,
what he was supposed to
do
release
you want to film
when
the
Epstein
island?
died?
The ranch? And Epstein defines one of his core intellectual pursuits as the difference between the unexplainable and the occult. Guys, Epstein knows alchemy. And at private dinners with Bezos, both Google founders, and Paul Allen, dinners Epstein was at the table for. The instructions were, please cooperate by maintaining radio silence. Show up alone. And I thought this was kind of crazy. So, in EFTA 016-57089, this is March 2025, an FBI agent emails the former Epstein case team. I was under the impression that there was a homemade sex video of Epstein and Maxwell amongst our seized evidence. Can anyone confirm or deny this? One person responds that I don't recall. The agent writes back, thanks, you happen to be the only one to reply.
Oh.
And the response is, maybe people were afraid to put anything into writing. In 2025, FBI agents are still afraid to discuss Epstein evidence in writing? EFTA 027-29919, October 2021. The MCC, the Metropolitan Correctional Center, where Epstein died, is being closed. A Bureau of Prisons investigator emails the FBI. I was instructed to destroy all evidence that is not needed for investigations. A blanket destruction order at the facility where Epstein died. The FBI's response? Is it possible to get a list of what you have first? They didn't even know what evidence existed. In 2019, journalist Vicky Ward reported that when the US attorney was asked why Epstein got the most lenient plea deal in federal history, a source said, I was told to back off. Epstein was above my pay grade. I was told Epstein belonged to intelligence.
It would be the first time.
Belonged to intelligence? Remember the Rosicrucian email? What are your thoughts on funding and constructing your own intelligence agency? He was already running one. And here's what the FBI found when they finally went inside. A painting of Bill Clinton in a blue dress, hanging on the wall.
Devil in a blue dress,
A framed photograph of Epstein with Pope John Paul II. A framed photograph of Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Roleplay costumes, including school uniforms. And there's a bunch more disturbing related artworks. There are a few emails that are a little mysterious. For example, this one. You had your eyes clenched shut last time. Not fair. Eyes clenched shut? Eyes wide shut? Stanley Kubrick's film about elite secret society rituals? Another weird one. An unknown sender. sending a full wiki page for the Wicker Man? EFTA 027-22330. So, this movie's about ritual human sacrifice on a remote island, recommending a film about sacrifice on an island to a man who owned an island. One more thing before I pull the thread.
What?
In part 1, I showed you a victim who wrote her diary in cipher, rail fence cipher, and the DOJ decoded it. But there's another one, and she describes even more names, even more powerful men, and she describes a financier who bit her and threw her on the floor. She describes a former Treasury official, a football team owner, a US senator that she says looked like a grandfather but wasn't, and she names them. She's actually literally writing about the system.
What names?
Yeah, you're gonna have to look into that one on your own. Let me pull the thread. 1868, the Zodiac Club is founded. 12 seats, Rothschild, JP Morgan, the architects of the Federal Reserve. 1985, Les Wexner tells New York Magazine he's lived with a demon since boyhood. 2003, Epstein and Maxwell have a private audience with the Pope. 2007, Epstein purchases Aleister Crowley's sex magic books, The Aeon of the Child. 2010, he asks for help continuing an old school secret society. Gets invited to the Zodiac Club. His advisor offers to hack Google. He pays in wire transfer. 2011, he designs a 4-level harem modeled on the Ottoman Palace, the same email thread as a dinner with every tech billionaire alive. 2013, the creator of the world's most famous humanoid robot, an active member of Aleister Crowley's OTO, pitches Epstein a $3 million lab for mind uploading, and a robo-Epstein. 2014, Marina Abramovich performs for Larry Page, Elon Musk, and Epstein. 2015, a quantum computing scientist proposes New Rosicrucianism, a private intelligence agency, and experiments on the island. Epstein forwards it in 28 minutes.
The intelligence agency had all that Epstein videos, and obviously these files that I don't know what the fuck's going on with them.
The reply? A shadow academy, media manipulation, psychedelic retreats for global influence, and things you wouldn't put in an email. 2017, a man with connections to Washington presents Epstein with Islam's holiest cloth, the Kiswa, during a political meeting about Yemen. His island dome was proportioned using the golden ratio. His temple had the Pillars of Solomon. His doorways were built so people couldn't leave. His files had a classified intelligence document.
So that means Epstein.
And when the U.S. attorney asked why he got the lightest deal in federal history, the answer was, he belonged to intelligence. Everything I just told you has a document number. Part 1 was what Epstein was building. The genetics, the baby farms.
Sorry about that. All right. It's a good little history lesson. I played part 1. Nobody wanted to watch it, so I cut it out. And now we're going to switch to the final, because you know I don't end on shit like this. I end on street interviews.
If you're going to call people fascists, tell me the definition.
When conspiracies go back way before the CIA, secret societies, basically, that's one of the biggest conspiracies in the world. And they prove it. And it's funny because, you know, some media, movies, music, video games, they kind of tie back into shit like this. If you really want to think about it, look at Assassin's Creed. All those games. You have to defeat a secret organization. And they typically have multiple members that you got to go get to before you get to the big guy.
People like you who just want to see all the libtards, as we have here, everybody be on the losing end of the stick because you all want to be winners. America wants to win.
What a definition. Do you have to carry your passport card with you? No.
My children do, because they're Chinese adoptees.
Wait, who said that they have to?
Well, because they don't look American.
Who said that they have to do it?
They do it for their protection.
So they don't have to.
They don't have to, but
no, they don't. But you've scared them into thinking that they have to.
I didn't scare them.
Yeah. Why don't you tell?
I didn't.
I'm sorry.
The TV scares.
That's a good point. The TV is scaring you guys into thinking that you have to carry your passport. Hi, are you part of the protest?
I'm actually attending Readout.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
Gulfport Readout.
Okay, very cool. What do you think about their signs?
Oh, absolutely. Come
Absolutely,
on.
yeah. So you support it?
No kings. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, get with it. Yeah. You can push the law to a point that is only to your benefit and no one else's. And that dadgum man in the White House right now, he's doing it. And we better be paying attention because midterms comes up.
Yeah.
So consequently, those of you, not
when I think about the midterms, obviously everybody's like, "Oh, the Republicans are going to lose." Probably, I don't think so. I don't think so. Because you look at all these they're saying racist stuff, and a lot of these, what is it called? The walking away, #walk away. Oh no, they don't seem too happy with the Democratic Party right now.
not necessarily you, but those who have stayed out of the ruckus of actually voting in a private, secretive ballot, which is our voting system. It's secret. No one has to know who you voted for. Just go fucking vote.
Okay. Oh, you said no
Do you believe in an ID to vote? Bitch.
kings. Do you think Trump exhibits king-like attributes or behaviors?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
How so?
In that, there are no repercussions to him or his family.
Okay, well, he was charged with 34 felonies by a Democrat prosecutor.
That Democratic prosecutor was voted into office using the laws that were Republican, Democrat, you know.
Well, you said he has no consequences and he can do whatever he wants, but
that's exactly what he's doing.
But he did have consequences.
So, hey, it did not happen. It did not happen.
So he doesn't have those felonies?
He has felonies. He is a rapist.
No. You said that didn't happen. That didn't happen. You need to go get your teeth fixed, by the way. There's a lot of black in there. Didn't happen. Got it.
It did not happen.
So he doesn't have those felonies?
He has felonies. Yeah. He is a rapist. Okay. And we put him into office.
Well, usually kings don't actually get convicted of felonies, right?
You said we. That means she voted for Trump.
I would think not. But
so maybe he's not a king then.
He's a king in his mind.
Okay, so he's not actually a king.
Aren't we all?
He is a king in his mind, along with those Republicans who are standing behind him, which basically means
well, if they all think that they're kings, that wouldn't work. Right? You guys remember that when they were crowning Obama, King Obama? You guys remember that? I remember that. No kings, remember?
Conservatives that are standing.
I'm a Trump supporter. I did vote for Trump.
Hey, I didn't.
Okay.
I knew what he did in business, which basically means to kill his businesses, but to profit from them. And he's profited from us.
How do you profit from your businesses if your plan is to kill them? Whatever. Let's move on. I'm just here talking to people who want to talk to me. If people say they don't, I move on. Why is that wrong?
Just move on.
Why?
Because I said so.
Why can't you guys handle your own? Why can't you guys say what you believe in? It's incredible. Instead of shutting down conversation, you guys should be able to be smart enough to debate me. Prove me wrong. Can any of you do it?
Yeah, how about
Go ahead.
You guys, first of all, lumping everybody together.
Yeah.
You're not a real journalist.
I don't say that.
You're all out there for the same purpose. So yeah, you guys. You trying to use that race card?
I am one.
Content and to score points.
Who am I?
This is a community. I don't know where you're from.
Who am I?
But I heard you say what your name was before. Your name was
You don't know who she
Caitlin,
is.
and I've seen some of your videos.
Thank you for watching.
And I know that you don't have to thank me. I wish I had not watched your videos because it's upsetting to see how divisive the country is because if you
He's never seen her videos. He doesn't even know who she is.
That's our bread and butter. But you, sir, I'm having a conversation now. Okay? But I see that you're getting content of people being aggravated by.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. You know what? I'll let it slide. I'll let it slide. But if it is what I think it is, I'm definitely thinking they should check your hard drives.
You here, okay? Because they know that you're here just for your own content, for your own purpose, and you're just going to paint people in a bad light. Not everybody's the same. Not everybody is able to gather their thoughts. Some of these people are really elderly here in Gulfport. I don't know where you're from, but Gulfport is a very elderly community.
Okay.
Obviously, it's a very progressive community where people don't like to see federal government asking people for where their papers are. They don't like to see the federal government confronting people with masks on and guns drawn and causing aggravating problems.
Yo, he's getting excited. He's getting excited. Of course, he's got the handler right next to him.
You know, and we all believe.
Am I allowed to respond to any of this?
Well, what do you mean respond?
Yeah, because you've been having a monologue. You're kind of filibustering me here, and a conversation requires two people to be able to have dialogue.
You wanted to hear from people here, and you didn't want people screaming at you. But
no,
now you're turning
I would like to respond to
you.
you.
don't like the fact that I'm talking to you.
I love that you're talking to me.
But I'm explaining to you that you're not doing good for anybody because
I would love to respond to that.
No, well, you can.
Yeah, she's right. Filibustering until you eventually go away. I don't think she does that.
Respond all you want because you've always got your security guard here, your camera.
Is that?
Yeah.
Because that goes with the territory.
Why do I need security?
Because you are going into situations with people who have feelings, strong feelings, and everybody's different. Okay? Some people, like this gentleman, thinks he should be jumping in front of your camera and blocking speech, okay? Not everybody is trained in conversation and conflict resolution.
Do you think that when the people standing out here, if they feel so passionately...
They sure do.
Okay, but my question is, if they feel so passionately that they would
Holy
do this
shit,
on
he
a
does.
Saturday evening or Saturday afternoon,
He really does.
they should be able to hold their own in a conversation with me when I just ask them questions.
They're not out here for conversation. They're here to express their feelings, to express their strong feelings.
I get it, but if you want people to come to your side, don't you want to have a conversation? Instead of, they're here to express their feelings. They're here to express their feelings. I mean, if I went there and the second that happened, I'm going to switch.
Against ICE, against fascism, and you're trying to supposedly engage in conversations, but people see through you.
Yeah.
And that's what the thing is.
So what am I doing
Look at that
that's so
retard in the
wrong?
back.
So we get as dumb as you.
What'd you say?
So we act as dumb as this comes across, trying to incite problems in the middle of something that I can.
So wait, you say you're acting dumb? I'm glad you said that. So none of this is real.
Duncan, and I'm not sure what your name is, sir.
Yeah, my name is Stuart.
Stuart, please don't touch me.
This woman.
So here's the thing. Before Duncan started getting upset at me because he found out I was a Trump supporter, I was actually having great conversations with people because that's what I do. I just left the farmers market in St. Pete and had amazing conversations there with people, and no one acted like this. But here I come to a protest. But why is it when I'm in a protest, you guys can't control your
I can't speak
feelings?
for other people, and you can't say you guys can't control your feelings because I'm standing here having a conversation with you. And my first point is everybody's different.
Yeah.
Everybody's different. And
I know
for you to
everyone's
lump
different.
everybody together,
Yeah.
just like the president does. These people are bad. Those people are bad. You know, trying to
rapists
divide
and pedophiles
people
are bad.
and catalog people as to some people are
starting to think
good
you're
and
part
some
of the
people
man
are
club.
bad and some people have to win and some people have to lose. How about we have a country where we all try to cooperate and we all
Right.
try to win
Yep, dude's a pedophile. I'm gonna take that. That's a pedophile.
together, but going into communities like Minneapolis and causing terror with masked federal agents, okay, that's only the way for a fascist administration to bring
Dude, you
fear.
live in a retirement community in Florida. None of this shit affects you. You're white. None of this shit really affects you or anybody else in that fucking protest. So you're out there for shits and giggles because you got nothing better to do. And you hope Caitlyn comes along and has a conversation with you because you wanted to talk to somebody so bad.
So that people won't speak out.
What are
People
they
won't-
supposed to be speaking out against?
They're speaking out against brutality and restriction of freedoms and you know.
Well, when ICE is in Minneapolis and they're doing targeted operations against people with warrants and have deportation orders and they've been convicted of crimes, shouldn't we support our law enforcement going in there and apprehending them and deporting them?
I think when you see a crew of masked people walking down the streets,
Okay.
that doesn't look like a targeted.
actually
you know,
does.
if it's targeted, you're going to somebody's front door, you're knocking on the door,
It
you're
really does because when we had to get our HVTs, oh yeah, we'd come from all directions.
going in. But when you're going down the street and you're taking people who are filming and trying to see what ICE is doing and confronting them and throwing them out of the street,
Let me
and
respond to
spraying
you.
them in the face with tear gas.
Yeah. Let me respond.
Whoa. Whoa. They're spraying them in the face with tear gas? Let me get some of that. I want to spray tear gas. Fuck Mace. Let me get that tear gas, bro.
That's fascism, and that's not the country I want to live in. And
Sure.
It's a very scary place
Let
to
me
live
respond to you. The reason why it doesn't look like a targeted operation is because Minneapolis is a sanctuary city. And so they want the federal government, ICE, DOJ, they want the Minneapolis city to abide by their rules and their laws and ask them, hey, if we have a detainer for someone, can you hold them so we can come and arrest them? They won't do it. They get these illegal aliens, and instead of notifying ICE, they actually send them out back into the city where they commit more crimes, they brutalize more people, they commit more fraud. And so, unfortunately, Trump has had to deploy ICE in this fashion because the city won't cooperate with them. So ICE is doing targeted enforcement, but instead of sending
Until they
one
start
person
getting
into a
attacked.
jail cell to pick up someone in Minneapolis who needs to be deported, now they have to send out troves of 16 agents to apprehend one person because they are followed by agitators. They are being assaulted by agitators.
Oh,
People are
squad.
running into them with their cars. They're trying to allow the person who has a deportation order to get away.
I think that you sound like a government spokesperson, and I think that what you're saying is a lot of BS.
Okay.
Because I see my
But you're spitting the same points the government and the media tells you. I digress.
own eyes, and I hear from people who've been there. I know somebody who was here in St. Petersburg, an elderly blonde-haired lady who has property in Minneapolis, and she said in the parking lot of her supermarket, she was asked by masked ICE agents to, where are you from? Where are your grandparents from? And her grandparents were from Europe, and then saying, oh, we're going to get to you next. That's what
I think that's a
You just said she lives in Florida but owns a grocery store in
whole bunch of BS.
I think what you're saying is a bunch of
What
BS
is fascism?
Too, because fascism is when you restrict the freedom of the press. Fascism
Not
is
just the
when
press,
you
retard.
cause fear. Okay.
What is
thank you.
fascism? What is it? What's the definition of fascism?
Well, I'm not an expert on fascism, but
Well, if you're going to say that certain people are
so I have to be an
fascists,
expert to have a conversation about fascism.
if you're
going
going to call people
I know that
fascists, tell me the
journa-
definition.
I
bet you he was the same person that says, "Are you a doctor?" when it came to COVID. Are you a scientist? Are you an expert? Well, no, but I do know a lot.
Fascism is when the government takes control of the industry. They take control of the press. They take control of the
I'm
judiciary.
not looking for examples. I'm asking for a definition.
I'm defining. I thought you had like half a brain.
A definition.
I'm defining it for you. They take control of the judiciary. They take control of the government. Everybody
And do
has
what?
to fall in line so that somebody like Trump can get away with saying anything against women and having all this evidence about how awful he's been to women and all the crimes he's committed and all the fraud, and people like you.
So are you worried about what Donald Trump did to women? Do you have the same thing with Joe Biden? Do you have the same thing with Barack Obama? Do you have the same thing with Bill Clinton? Do you have the same thing with Martin Luther King Jr.? Do you?
Who just want to see all the libtards, as we have here, everybody be on the losing end of the stick, because
You are one of the lucky ones. My wife's one of the lucky ones too, except for she had to get 2 for work.
want to be winners. America wants to win.
What a
So you're happy
definition.
to see other
What
people
a
lose.
definite. What is the
Fascism?
definition? What is the definition of fascism?
I just told you, it's where the government takes control over the press, and I'm repeating it so
And
that you
does
get it.
what?
What you're giving
And
me
I
are
told you to begin with,
examples.
I'm not a professor of political history. I'm just a guy who watches the news and who has studied history.
Who coined the
and
term
know who is-
fascism?
Wait.
I didn't coin the term.
I'm just a guy who watches the news and studies history. Wait. You just said you don't know history.
Fascism, what a
coined
dumb
it?
thing to say.
Who
and that's
coined the
why I
term?
know that you're not here
Who
for
coined the term?
real conversations like you say you're
No, it
here.
was an Italian.
No.
fucking
Who
environment.
coined the term fascism?
I don't know the original.
What are the
I think
tenets
it's
of
an
fascism?
I think the fascism started the term in Italy, and it was to describe what Mussolini's party had. And basically, it was a party of thugs and bullies who would commit violence against people.
Oh, the mafia. The mafia. The church.
Same way that ICE and our government commits violence against people
So let me
to make them
respond.
fall in line.
So ICE agents are complying under immigration law Title 8 in the U.S. Code. Okay, everything they're doing. You won't even. I listen to you, but you won't listen to
because
me.
It's not about listening, because again, you sound like
Why
a
won't you
government spokesperson, and I don't believe the government, and I don't believe you, because I know how brutal and stupid our government is. Let me give one example. Let me give one example.
So here's the
True
thing. You
story
keep
about these jerks
filibustering.
in ICE. One thing
Listen
about,
to me. You
No,
did
no,
not let me finish my sentence.
turn
Okay.
this into a discussion about like, hey, either you want to hear from me or you don't.
Yeah,
If
you
you've
just
got the-
keep talking. You just keep talking, and when I try to respond, you tell me I'm.
All these people worried about 2 people getting killed. It looks like last week in Chicago, 4 people were shot and killed. I don't remember seeing any outrage over that. Hell, they've got 45 year to date. It's interesting. We don't talk about that though. This is
lying. You call me a government spokesman, which is not an insult. Caroline Leavitt is a great government spokeswoman, and I think she's very intelligent. So that's kind of a compliment, if you ask me.
Okay.
ICE agents operate under Title 8 of the U.S. Code. Okay, that's what they
I
operate
want to
under.
tell a story about how I know what's going on with ICE.
Do you have to carry your passport card with you?
Nope.
Well, my children do, because they're Chinese adoptees. They're American citizens
Okay,
too.
great. And they
shouldn't have
immigrated
to.
here, right?
They did as babies.
I doubt they carry their passports. You know what they do carry? How old are they? Anyway, you look like a dyke. if they are at least 16, 17, 18, they probably have an ID. They probably have an ID. But now that I see you and your bull-dyke girlfriend next to you, I'm not saying that that's probably what it is, but I think it is. And you adopted 2 children from Chinese people. You don't see a problem with that? Not the fact that they adopted, but 2 Chinese people.
But they shouldn't have to carry
Wait, who said that they have to?
Well, because they don't look American.
Who said that they have to do it?
They do it for their protection.
So they don't have.
My wife doesn't look American. My daughters don't look American. My son looks like a Mexican. But guess what? Nobody ever stops them, or me. There's no fear of being, oh my God, I'm going to be deported because I don't have my passport. They all have 2 forms of ID. But they never get stopped. And there are ICE operations here. Oh, there are definitely ICE operations here. They're just not big because you know what? People want them gone here.
Have to.
They don't have to, but
no, they don't. But you've scared them into thinking that they have to.
I didn't
scare. There's rumor. They might be making a DHS office headquarters in Nashville, a regional headquarters. Bro.
Them.
Yeah, why don't you tell? I'm sorry.
The TV scares.
That's a good point. The TV is scaring you guys into thinking that you have to carry your passport.
ICE in Charlotte, North Carolina, where my older daughter works for Wells Fargo as a computer engineer with a master's from Duke. That scared her into it.
Oh, wait. She has all that. She has all that, but she doesn't have an ID. And people still think she's American or not American, guarantee you she's Americanized. And that's the way she looks. She doesn't look like a Chinese person because, well, they are desperate. This Chinese person... Weird. They adopted a Chinese kid. The Chinese kid is getting all this education. No, it's not possible. They're not going to send them back to China.
Okay, this isn't a conversation. That's not a punchline and then you walk away.
Oh, we missed it.
Yes.
I was talking.
Near Charlotte, North Carolina, where my older daughter works for Wells Fargo as a computer engineer with a master's from Duke. That scared her into it.
Okay, this isn't a conversation.
Computer engineering. I gotta stop thinking like that. However, now I seriously doubt the story of her having 2 Chinese kids. Do they let... No. I really don't think they're Chinese now. Or if she ever adopted any kids.
That's not a punchline and then you walk away. Yes, you have to have a form of identification when you're an immigrant. It is wise to carry that with you to prove your citizenship. That's not wrong.
You have to have, but you just said they're not telling people to do that.
So I said it's wise to do that, and they should have to do it.
You're ugly on the inside and out.
No.
So you guys keep
I always tell my kids, and this is one of the things I harped on the most. Everywhere you go, bring your fucking ID. And it's not because of that. It's because if you get injured, they have a way to identify you and get a hold of me. And it's also a way to where they can end up in the hospital and you can figure out where they're at. It's mainly because my cat just threw my thought process off. But it's mainly for identification reasons.
Having these punchlines, but you can't engage in conversation.
When you were having the whole back and forth with him, you're mumbling so nobody in the crowd can hear your...
And now that you're hearing me, you have to try and call me ugly.
Where are you going?
It's all fake news. I'm not going to talk to
Holy shit. She wanted the attention and got it. And then she ran away.
fake news. I completely understand what you're saying, that if somebody is different,
than what people consider citizens, that they could be harassed. And I agree. I think they should have their passport or something to...
I don't think that's unreasonable.
No, but we also have to realize that maybe...
So if they have to carry around a passport card to prove they're American, it's kind of like, do they need it to vote? So they have an ID so they can vote. Oh, I'm sorry. They said she's Chinese. So according to the media, Chuck Schumer, Joe Biden, a lot of these other Democrats, black people cannot get an ID. They can't afford an ID. They don't know where the DMV's at. And they don't know how to use a computer. According to Hochul, Governor Hochul, they don't even know what the word computer means. Who's the real racist?
People can't get to a place to do that or pay for a passport. Passports are expensive.
Well, when you immigrate here, you are given all your documents. And so that's in the process, and that's in the fees, and that's in everything. So you have it on hand with you when you become a U.S. citizen. You get it in court, right? And so what I'm saying is,
an immigrant has a green card. They show that. An illegal doesn't. So they don't have to show that.
Told her children that they have to have it on them or else bad things will happen. She's told her children that, and that's a lie. People are not just stopping people who are Chinese or Mexican or anything like that just because they look like they're not an American citizen. That's not true. That's not happening.
So you're telling me that they're not...
Come on, Angie, let's go.
That they're not...
Let's go. You know what? It's okay.
Are you telling me that they're not stopping people?
I'd be like, let me see your ID. Show me you're an American. For all I know, you could be an illegal from, I don't know, not Cambodia, from Czechoslovakia. I mean, the Czech Republic or Slovakia. I mean, for all I know, you can be from Australia. Let me see your citizenship proof. If not, I'm going to call ICE.
People by their color of their skin?
No, I'm not saying that they're not doing. No, I'm not saying that. So they are allowed to look at someone's.
You think about color of their skin. Out of these three people, this white lady in the middle, they would ask her to see her ID.
Skin color with other attributes about them and say, oh, that person might be suspicious. I want to make sure they're an American citizen. The Supreme Court just ruled that was okay to do.
Have you ever been profiled
Wait,
before?
they're all women there.
And I've experienced it too.
Yeah, me too.
And it's not
They're
right.
all old
Yeah,
women.
I've been profiled.
For what?
Yeah, so when I come to these protests, I actually get profiled as some deranged, disgusting Republican pedophile, and people try to infringe on my conversations that I'm having with other people, and they profile me as someone who's here to agitate when all I want to do is talk to you guys. You guys profile me every time I show up to one of these things.
It's over.
I don't even know who you...
Protest is over. You got the vest is off. Everyone's gathering their shit and leave. It must be 1 o'clock.
I didn't either. Why would I profile you? I don't even know who you are.
Yeah, well, I'm saying that's what happens when I come here. I am profiled.
That's a lot different than being profiled with someone who's an African American and getting pulled over and shot and thrown in jail.
Whoa.
Lots of people.
Who?
You know who they are.
No, I don't.
George
Floyd. George Floyd. How about that? George
Floyd was pulled out of a
truck and killed. And
yeah, why was he pulled out of that truck, by the way? Because he was saying he couldn't breathe in the truck.
no.
Yes, he was.
You know what?
If you read your history books, read history.
Yeah, that was just like 5 or 6 years ago. We don't have to go too far back in history. George Floyd was saying.
Why do they always say, go back and read history books? Go learn history. Bitch, we lived through it. Are you stupid? Just like I'm part of the history books for the invasion and combat in 2 different countries in my career. I don't need to read it. I was there. You fucking dumb cunt.
He couldn't breathe in the cruiser.
The insurrection was, in fact...
We're talking about George Floyd, ma'am.
Well, we were talking about the insurrection.
No,
we're not.
You said black people getting shot, getting pulled out of their cars and getting shot. That's what we're talking about. Sorry, we're not talking. Now I'm getting a little flustered at Grandma. Grandma. Woosah.
Talking about George Floyd, he said he couldn't breathe when he was in the back of the cruiser. That's why they took him out.
There were a lot of people that.
Did you know that?
Situations like that.
Did you know that? Because he was high on fentanyl.
Oh, right.
He
You're
wasn't.
so right. That's what you believe?
He wasn't high.
That's what you believe.
You believe he wasn't.
I believe he wasn't. Okay. Didn't you believe he was?
This is actually
believe he was?
astonishing that we can have two different
and
views here.
Truths that are not true.
Okay.
Can I say something about police abuse?
No, you cannot right now. So anyway, hey, George.
It's a helpful story about what they're talking about.
Yeah, well, I'm going to actually head back to my children here soon. You have literally
good.
30 seconds of my time.
Good. So,
if I'm so stupid, then prove me wrong.
can't.
None of you can do it. It's funny when, Adam, look at me. So it's funny when, like, I'm saying I'm done, I'm going home to my children. He keeps following me, but I want more of your time. I want more of you're such a phony.
See?
You don't want to talk to me.
she's not-
No, you don't. You're not obligated to 30 minutes of my time.
I am on the opposition. I'm supporting the people that come into this country, and I do support due process. And I don't think they're getting due process.
Okay, you don't think they're getting
No,
due
they're not
process.
getting due process.
How do you know that?
Well, they don't. We don't see any media reporting that they're getting due process.
Okay, so
if they were
just
getting due process, we would be hearing about it.
well, we do hear about it, right? We do hear about it.
And
So
there's a lot of people that are in this country that are going through the process of becoming a citizen or getting granted asylum.
well, let me
And
ask
it
you
takes-
this.
Well, if they're going through the process of becoming a citizen, lady, that means they're here legally. They're here on a green card. You can't apply for citizenship until you have a green card for 10 years. And how do I know? I don't need to read a history book. I don't need a history book. I experienced it live and in living color.
It takes time
It
for
does.
them to go through the process. Why are they showing up at the courthouses when they're trying to go through the processes
I can
and
tell
they're
you why.
taking them away?
I can tell you why. It's because the judge is not going to order them to be renewed visas or allowed to stay in the country. They
We
will
don't know
have
that.
deportation orders.
We don't know that.
Well, we do
No.
because ICE is there waiting for them because they know that they are not going to be granted the ability to stay in
How
the
do they know
country
that?
because the judge is not going to grant it. And so
That's
the
not true.
judge
There was a judge that was on TV that was protecting somebody that was before the court, and the Republican Party and that group criticized the judge for protecting that immigrant.
Okay.
Not an immigrant, illegal. She, what's the word? Obstructed justice, and that's what she's going in trouble for. Pretty sure she already convicted, or she pled guilty. Hannah Dugan, sorry.
They deserve due process.
But what due process
And
are they
people-
not getting?
People also say on the Republican side
Okay.
that they don't deserve due process.
Okay.
It's in our
I never said that.
Constitution. If you're in this country, you deserve due process.
More
If you're
importantly,
illegal,
it's
that's
in
the only
Title
thing I think.
8 as well
You're legal, you're
about how
American, you don't get
immigration
due
proceedings
process.
happen.
If you're an illegal citizen, you don't get due process. Citizen, my God. If you're an American citizen, you deserve due process. It's in the Constitution. If you are an illegal automatically means you're not supposed to be here. You don't deserve due process. It should be automatic deportation. Like I said, green card holders, they're here legally. And they have to be here at least 10 years if they want to apply for citizenship. These ladies don't know that. They just think, oh, I'm going to apply, and then next month I should be a U.S. citizen. That's all it needs. We don't need to vet anybody.
And so what
It takes
is
a
the
long time
hold on.
to be-
What is the due process
Oh,
when
she got
someone is
convicted.
caught in this country illegally?
I don't believe somebody being in here undocumented is illegally.
I know that you don't believe that.
It's a
But
civil
hold on,
offense.
ma'am.
It's not a
Hold on.
criminal offense.
So hold on. I would love to respond to you. So a conversation.
You know, it's always funny. They're here illegally. Oh, but crossing the border is a civil offense. I mean, it's still illegal. It's still illegal.
Just, no reason for us to get
That's
upset.
true, what I just said, correct?
So it's not true, but let me correct you. Hold on, please don't laugh. I'm trying to explain it to you. So when you cross the country, when you cross the border illegally and you're in the country illegally, it is a criminal offense. It's a misdemeanor,
It's
a federal. Hold on. It is a misdemeanor, but it is a criminal offense. And when you enter the country illegally 2 times, it's now a felony offense.
I understand.
And so here's the thing. We could, when ICE apprehends an illegal alien that crossed the border just 1 time, it could go through a criminal proceeding because it is a criminal offense. However, ICE and DHS, they operate it civilly and administratively. So we don't have to charge these people with crimes. That's why they aren't afforded a jury. That's why they aren't afforded a free lawyer. That's why they aren't afforded these other things, because it's a civil process. Now, we could charge everyone. Just Juan, who came over, his first time he got apprehended at crossing the border illegally, is his first time ever. He's just a farm worker. We could prosecute him criminally,
right?
But we don't, because it is a criminal offense. A misdemeanor is a criminal offense, but we don't, because it would clog up the courts, and so we just deport them back home. That's all we do.
So when Trump says,
did you know that?
I know that it's a misdemeanor, and I know that they should be able to go through the process of being a citizen or seeking asylum and that accepted in this country.
It doesn't
My
go
grandparents
straight from being illegal to citizen.
came here from another country. I'm a granddaughter of immigrants, Greece.
Greece, okay, very cool. Did they do it legally?
Oh, you know that the legal process.
She's the granddaughter, so she's twice removed.
Was totally different from when it was
I
back
was just
then
asking
than
if they
now.
came here legally.
Have you looked at all the steps you
Answer
have
the
to do
question.
to become a citizen?
I was just wondering if they came
I'm
here
asking you,
legally.
Have you
Answer
looked
the
at all
question.
of the steps that you have to go through to become a citizen?
Yes.
No,
I do.
because there's a lot of different avenues.
is a
What
lot
I
of
do
different
know,
You-
I have looked
You're
at
the
the.
granddaughter. You don't know the steps. I know the steps. I still have all the paperwork that we needed. It's been 26 years. 27 years. I don't know. It's been a long time. No. How old's my daughter? 23 years. There, I think I got it right.
Steps.
No.
Hold
This
on.
is a waste of time.
This isn't a waste of time.
Are you enjoying
No,
yourself?
I'm
Because
fine.
we can
I'm
leave.
fine.
Okay.
I'm fine.
She's okay.
I'm fine.
So you can handle yourself. You're doing a
Have your
great
night.
I can
job.
handle myself.
Yes, you can
Because
handle
I
yourself.
believe they deserve due process.
Yes, and what I'm saying
they
is they are
shouldn't have-
getting it.
Helicopter people jumping out of a helicopter, military.
Where is that
style.
happening?
In Chicago. It happened in Chicago. They busted the door.
They fast roped in. But dude, if they had military operations like that, whoa. Let me get a piece of this for at least 2 missions. All right.
Doors down. They brought all those people out of
Who
Chicago.
did they arrest?
Trende Agua.
Well, I know there were little kids there.
Who were they
It
targeting?
traumatizes those people.
Who were they
But you know what?
targeting?
I want to.
Ma'am, who were they targeting with that
They
arrest?
say they had somebody they were targeting.
What crimes did they commit?
Why can't they?
What crimes
Okay,
did they
let me ask you
commit?
this.
What crimes did they commit?
That's a good question. What crime did they have the right to go into everybody's home in that apartment to look for whomever it was that they
It
were?
was an abandoned-
They've been
It's an
targeting
abandoned apartment.
rapists and murderers.
Oh, get out of here.
You don't
Couldn't
think
they
that's true,
couldn't
ma'am?
Couldn't they have staked out the place instead of bringing in a helicopter and dropping people in?
Well,
could they have done that? Could they have? Yes or no? Could
I
have
mean, they
done
could have done anything, but I trust that our
But
law
no,
enforcement
I'm
officers
asking
are
you, could
okay
they
with
have
that.
staked out the place and done that without having the whole building busted in by these people and these little kids
Let me show you
traumatized?
this.
I want you to know.
These are people who have been arrested in Minneapolis that you say deserve
Mm-hmm.
due process. All of these people, they're fraudsters, they're rapists, they're murderers.
I
They've
don't
they've
believe.
sought them.
Who's that? Fox News?
Nope, this is not Fox
Whose
News.
news is it?
That's Department
This
of
is a
Homeland
local
Security.
Channel 5.
Oh.
Okay, I would have to look and see if that's true.
Yeah, so these are mugshots from people, from illegal
Mm-hmm.
aliens in Minneapolis
Mugshots,
who have
not
already
fake,
been
it-
arrested. They've already been
I'd have to see
arrested.
if they have committed criminal crimes, not civil cases.
But
And my
these are
point- my
criminals
point-
with rap
I'd
sheets
like
of
to go
rape
back-
and murder
I'd
and
like to go-
sodomizing little
Oh,
children.
get out of here.
You don't believe that?
I believe that children. Let's talk about Epstein then, if you want to talk.
We can do that
sodomizing.
right after we're talking about this.
But let me finish one thing. I want to just
Does
make
that
this-
bother you?
If that's true, yes, it does.
But this is who ICE is targeting. And when
No, they're not.
Yes, they are. 400.
They have arrested citizens. They pulled that woman out of the car that claimed that she was disabled. She was a citizen of this country.
Oh, the woman who rammed her car into the
She
into
testified
the
before
other car.
committee. No, she didn't.
So here's the
and
thing.
she told them she was disabled and a citizen.
So
and they pulled her out of the car.
I do want to
I
head
wanna
back
go
to my kids.
I want to go back to immigration. What
That's
we need
what we're
to
talking
do,
about, immigration.
What we
Okay.
need to do is go back to that bipartisan bill that they had in May of 2024 or February of 2024 and support it. It was a bipartisan immigration bill. It gave more judges so that the process through the court could be faster.
Trump did that with an executive order.
And Trump told them not to support it.
You know why?
Oh, you're
Because
gonna
it
tell me
wasn't
because
about-
it's a good bill. It was a bipartisan bill. Bipartisan. That means both parties agreed.
You're getting a little heated.
No, that's true. Is that
Okay.
true? Is that true or not true?
No,
I'm not saying that both parties
Is
didn't like
true
it.
or not true?
What's your question?
That there was a bipartisan bill and Donald J. Trump told them not to.
Oh, that's true, and I agree
Okay,
with that.
Thank you. That's all I
agree
wanted.
with-
Hold
what
on.
is- Oh my goodness.
You don't want to hear any other reason.
I'm not the news, lady. I'm not the news. This is so aggravating because she says she wants to talk. I offer just a little bit of dialogue that actually, this is what I know. What do you think about it? And she can't control her temper. It's like a toddler. Telling a toddler, no, actually, we're not going to do this. This is wrong. They cannot control their impulses or their temper. And it's so...
Well, I hope that's not me when I get old. Actually, it's not, because I don't have that liberal mindset. Now, is the boomer generation, well, the ones that became the, what are the Gen A, Gen Z? Not millennials. I think my kids are millennials. Yeah, all my kids are millennials. Well, that's weird. A Gen Z raising millennials, and then the millennials raising the next generation. That's probably where it fucked up. I'm just saying. But anyway, time for you to get something to eat and go buy some Sudafed. But I'm not telling you how to think, because if I was telling you how to think, then you would probably, I don't know, you would probably be here. No, that would be impossible. Or is it? Do I have mind control? No, I'm just telling you to think, because that would be stupid. Or do I have mind control? MK Ultra your ass.